straight to the galaxy, faster than sanity, left behind a land forsaken. Black holes and meteors, riding on shooting stars, fearless like our dreams. We shoot down a satellite, wings of a butterfly, constellations recreating, fighting for liberty, raising the energy, bursting at the seams. Freedom looking down a telescope, starlight never been so beautiful. Whole world waiting for us, time to go, escaping gravity. We'll be rising high above the right, sunset never gonna be the same. Thunder calling us to outer space, escaping gravity. Escaping gravity. Escaping gravity. Starlight dances in the silver of the night sky. Way above the clouds we will be sailing high, sailing high, sailing high. Ooh, you and me, we're gonna touch the stars, find the center of the universe. New reality in front of us, escaping gravity. We'll be rising high above the right, sunset never gonna be the same. Thunder calling us to outer space, escaping gravity. Escaping gravity. Escaping gravity.
All right, let's go ahead and get things started. I do hope everyone is having themselves a good Tuesday. For those under persuasion, that is Tuesday. For those who moved under persuasion, that is Wednesday. I do hope your Wednesdays are going well. Everyone jamming out, all good stuff. So as a reminder, we've got our announcements we're going to quickly go through for today. A bunch of these are going to start going away, so I know it's been a little heavy on the announcements at the beginning of stream lately. But we do have the survey still going that I am still trying to get feedback for. We've had 61 people respond to that survey so far, and most of that has been usable. I did have one or two that I'm going to be tossing because like the person's like, this is my favorite, like action RPGs are my favorite. Action RPGs are my least favorite. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? But other than like the one or two where they had like directly conflicting information, it's been like really, really good in that. So when the what? I have no idea what you're asking, Strider. But yeah, so we've got that survey going out. So if anyone can please like fill that out. I know I've been asking about this a lot like this whole past 2 weeks. I'm gonna keep asking until the end of the month. So it's like only a couple more days. But my plan is basically Christmas emotes. I have not done holiday emotes ever. So I mean, I don't really have a budget I could throw at making a bunch of holiday emotes. Emotes aren't cheap, just so you know. Like getting those made are not exactly cheap. So I would love to have the funds to be able to just every holiday be like, all right, here's Christmas emotes, here's Halloween ones. But yeah, that's I mean, not to make finances a thing. Like, very, very really, I wish I could invest a lot more into the stuff I do on the channel, but I just don't have that budget. It's just me being real. Like, I'm doing fine financially, as in I'm not gonna, like, lose my house or anything, but I don't have a whole lot of discretionary currency for that. Just add a Santa hat. I don't think you understand how much of a time commitment, even just, like, pasting on a Santa hat. No, it's not gonna happen, Strider. I very much doubt it. It's not a bad idea, but like I just don't have the time to do it myself, nor the budget to pay someone else to do it. Nor would I ask for someone to do the work for free, because I don't feel okay with that. But back on track, we still do have the poll going on Discord so far as the games to play. I might end up ignoring that poll. It's just not getting enough participation, unfortunately. It's the same problem, the reason I did away with it before. That if I look at it, I think we had like 12 or 13 people respond to it, if I remember incorrectly. And that's just not enough. For we have well over 1,000 people tune in here every single week, and to have only like 12 people vote, that's just too small of a sample size. So like survey where we've got 60-something people, I'm feeling a lot better about that, but the poll is just not getting enough traction to mean much of anything, unfortunately. So I'm still announcing it, basically saying, hey, because if I get more feedback, great. But I might just go back to just not doing the poll, which sucks. I have been torn about. I've had, like, even in the survey data, I had a bunch of people like, it'd be really nice if we had more going on Discord, but it has been a thing that getting people to actually participate in the Discord has been very difficult. And again, I get it. There's a billion Discords out there. Like, it's part of the thing I understand is there's always another Discord out there. But at the same time, like, that's one reasons why feedback has been so difficult, is I can't get people to participate in it. Which has made the data side of things really hard to make any kind of informed decision. So I've had to resort to Twitch numbers, because in the absence of other data, I need some kind of data to make some kind of informed decision. So that's partially a minor vent on my part, not at viewership, but just in the situation. So what was the count in the poll again? We had 10 votes for Project Zomboid, we had 7 votes for Hardspace Shipbreaker, Airport Simulator, American Arcadia, and then 5 votes for everything else. But I think it was something like 12, I did the math earlier, it was like 12 or 13 individuals or something like that participated. Again, out of over 1,000 we have tune in on a fairly regular cadence. So, again, not me complaining to the viewers about the lack of participation there, more just venting that I haven't been, like, I have people like, you should have, chat vote for it. I'm literally trying! I'm literally trying to have chat vote for what we play. Hardspace had 6, after me it was 7. Yes, it's 7 now. But so that's kind of thing, is I've had regular people like, oh, you should have chat vote like on Discord for the game. It's like, that's a thing I've been doing for a year and a half on and off, and I can never get a meaningful number of people to participate. I think the most we ever had participate, I think we had one that had like 20-something people participate way back. And it's because I had like two big games in there people wanted to see. But says, I have so many Discords that I get notifications that sometimes I ignore all notifications. Oh, absolutely. Like, I totally get it. That's the reason I mentioned it here during stream, because that's the only way people check. And I am just as bad about it. I look down the left side of my Discord, and it's just white dots the whole way down, and the occasional, like, red notifications. That's mostly servers I forgot to turn those off. There's only a handful of servers I keep the proper notifications on. And so I get the problem. Like, I absolutely get the problem. Yeah, I know it's the same thing, as I ignore and mute the whole thing, but that's the catch, is I get asked, hey, you should have votes for games, but also because of just the nature of Discord being just too much, you can't get people to participate. So, how do I get people to vote for games? Because I already do the thing during stream where I have the vote in the middle of the stream saying, hey, what are we gonna play? Which I can't put like a whole giant list in there. And I've had people say, well, we should have a vote where we can add games and do all that. And it's something I would be down for, but I don't have a solution, technically speaking, to do it. Let's see, you leave Discord notifications on, so if someone sees it over my shoulder, they think I actually have people talking to me. Yeah, so I appreciate like people participating in all that kind of stuff. But it's just been one of those things. But it's been, and I know this is a repeating thing I've said a number of times. Like, I have the feeling of playing too much RimWorld. I burnt out really bad in Project Zomboid. I'm trying to not re-burn out in Project Zomboid. Like, I'm not fully recovered from burnout. And then plus the Project Zomboid, I have people pop in, like, oh, would you look at that? You got good numbers. Huh, you're playing Project Zomboid, good numbers. And honestly, very seriously, when that happens, I want to quit Project Zomboid on the spot and be like, don't bring that up. Because it is those things that it's just like a fluke because I play it so infrequently that when I play it consistently, the numbers just go right back down. But it's just that thing makes me feel like forced to play Project Zomboid, which makes me not want to play Project Zomboid. It's just the way I am. But yeah. So it's like the beginning of stream is like, do I want to play Farm Simulator? It's like, man, Farm Simulator, it's not a good day for Farm Simulator. Do I want to play American Truck Simulator? Well, I already know I'm going to be doing that in a couple of days, so probably not that. And then RimWorld is like, do I want to play RimWorld? It's like, man, I have played a lot of RimWorld lately. Do I want to play Project Zomboid? I don't know. It's me second guessing everything. For those who don't know, as a content creator, that is your perpetual state of being, is second guessing every action you take. Just so you know. If you change something, you second guess it. If you don't change something, you second guess it. Anyways, that has gotten me completely distracted. So, on the note of American Truck Simulator, that will, I believe, be on the 1st? What day is the 1st? What day are you? What day is the 1st? Come on, calendars, why are you so awful? Yes, that'll be on the 1st, which is Friday. Okay. Alright, so it's probably going to happen is... Because I also said I was going to do that Delivery Ink redeem on the 1st. We'll play it by ear on that one. Bruce, what's this? You're taking a survey right now. Maybe you can add an option to have no preferences. Because I really have no preference on some of the choices. And just clicked everything. Just clicking everything is fine. For the record, just clicking everything, A-okay. Really all I'm trying to say is like, what are you excited about seeing on a channel? And I also know people are like, I don't mind what you play at all, but it's still fair if you don't mind, but you're like, you're not really into simulation, or you're not really into RPGs, or not really into whatever, like, just leave it blank. Not filling it in doesn't mean you don't like it. Kind of think of like there's 3 states. There's the ones you really, really like, you want to see more of, you click that. The ones you don't care either way, just leave it alone. And the ones you don't want to see, in the appropriate place, click that. Because literally I'm now starting to do data entry from that survey data, just like what genres people want in the days a week, that I am trying to do a 3-axis diagram for myself, or chart, that I could see, like, day of the week, time of the day, genres, like, what's high and low. To see if there's any kind of pattern there that I can find out where it's like, oh, I seem to have more people into simulation tune in on the weekend. All right, maybe I'll focus on doing simulation on the weekend. Oh, I have this on these days. And that's not an actual pattern I've seen. I'm just giving an example. I'm hoping there will be some trends there. At the very beginning, when I only had like 6 or 7 entries, we had a very strong trend in SARS. Like, there was a given day that there was like a game people were like really looking to see on that day. And it's like, ooh. If this code's consistent, that's really easy to plan around. I play that game on that day. But I don't believe that specific trend is carried. Are you going to show the chart when finished? Yeah, I'll show the chart when finished. If I could get into like an actual graphic. Number says, personally I thought it wasn't a good idea to become a variety streamer. What do you mean we have finished Coral Island? Oh, we... or will it be not safe for work? No, the chart will be fine. Yeah, chart should be fine. It's more I have to actually come up with a graphic for the chart or something. Right now, I'm just putting into SQL Server because that's what I know I can manipulate the data very rapidly once I get in there. So what it might end up... I'll figure out how I could try and do it. Oh, sexy charts. Let's see. Personally, thought it wasn't a good idea to become a variety streamer. I've always been a variety streamer. Like, from the very beginning. Like, honestly, as much as Project Zomboid took over the channel... is something I didn't like, to be honest. Not because Project Zomboid. And what do you mean do we have finished Coral Island? We finished the main story, we finished the temple, we finished the, we got married, like, we did all that, so it's not that there's nothing left in the game, but we hit all the other milestones that now it's kind of just, you know, grind achievements. And as well as things that is just like, okay, you're known to me as a Product Zomboid player? Yeah, no, that's the thing, like, that to me is a problem, though. Because I'm not a Project Zomboid main. I don't want to be a Project Zomboid main. One of the stipulations I've always had in the channel is if I ever felt I could only ever play one game, I would stop streaming. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. I'm not upset about that, but that is something that became a thing I got known for, is that I was Project Zomboid, like, as my thing. Like, even though most of the time I spent less than half of my time in a stream playing less than half my time in the week in Project Zomboid. But it's just what people got drawn in, which I appreciate that. Like, I'm not upset about that. But that is one of the reasons I took a hard break away from Project Zomboid, was one, the numbers were dropping really hard. And then, like, the second reason was just, I can't play one game that long and not burn out and hate the game from just playing too much. So I needed to have more of a mix-up. And so I made it a very deliberate effort to try and I want to grow my audience as a variety audience so I can play multiple different games. Like, I don't want to trade Project Zomboid for RimWorld where everyone tunes in for that. If I'm not playing that, you know, people are unhappy. Or same with, like, Coral Island, or same with, you know, whatever. Like, I am just not the kind of person who plays a game. Yeah. Even if you don't like the game, content is entertainment. Yeah. No, and that's, we've had the conversations around, like, when you're looking, I need to figure out how I want to do, like, the start of the YouTube part of this. Like, I already did it, but to not have this whole feed in. Project Zomboid, I feel bad for the zombies. I literally, when I had people kind of copping an attitude, like, I had one person, this is going way back, this isn't recently, I had one person that, you know, I had stopped playing Project Zomboid for a while, and the channel was actually doing better than, like, towards the end of when I was still doing Project Zomboid. That, like, the numbers were back up. And there was, like, a specific day that Project Zomboid as a category had, like, 8,000 viewers. And a person's like, you feel pretty stupid about leaving Project Zomboid now, don't you? And I pulled it up and, like, 7,500 of these are Korean. Like, this doesn't help me. There's, like, 400 people watching this in English. Like, literally at the time this person was watching the stream, it was like, I have more numbers than I had with Project Zomboid, and Project Zomboid is doing worse. And it was one of those things that it's just like, man, like, and that kind of thing makes me want to not play the game. Like, the game that person's advocating for, it makes me just not want to play it again anymore. Yeah, let's see. Some streamer I watched talked about it. He's known as a high-level hardcore competitive Dota 2 player. When he plays chill non-competitive games, the viewership just plummets. Yep. That's the thing, is you grow an audience who's looking for one thing. And if that one thing is the thing you don't want to do, you suffer for it. So it is very deliberate that you want to grow your audience into what you want to do. Like we talk about, you know, people saying, hey, play what you want. Here's a hint, it's not usually Project Zomboid or RimWorld these days. I love both games, but I have thousands of hours into them. There's nothing new happening in these games for me. With all that said, I'm just waffling. Let's just get into the game. Like, I'm not unhappy to play it, but it's just one of those things that I need to be able to play multiple games. And it's one of the things that makes me discouraged in going back into playing Project Zomboid, is because I kind of feel like it's just gonna reopen that can of worms again. But that is one reason why you usually watch my viewer count explode. Not explode, that's how we're saying it. They'll see it like bump up a lot when I play Project Zomboid. It's because I play it so infrequently, and I do have a reputation in the game. Oh, I didn't even check any of our stuff. So we're still slightly overweight. Well, a little overweight, not slightly. A little overweight. Got some potatoes on me. Got a full bottle of water. And a half full. Darshers, you don't typically like product. That's actually, honestly, for a peek behind the scenes, and I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable doing this since I think we're getting towards the wind down and how many responses we're going to get on the survey. I would say I have had more people respond that they're tired of Project Zomboid than they're excited to see Project Zomboid. Paradoxically, when it comes to the categories people want to see, I've also had Survival, which mentions Project Zomboid as the highest in there as well. So it is those ones you kind of do the head scratch of like, all right, how am I supposed to navigate this? All right, so we still need to solve the water. That's right, that's what we're dealing with. Oh, I also need to check my radio. I was trying to remember what the heck we were doing. So the problem I have right now is apparently I can't go over the side here. So like I can't build off this bridge at all. They've made this like effectively a non-passable wall, and you can't disassemble it or anything. You could probably sledgehammer it, but we're not going to get that today. Have I tried it modded Minecraft? I honestly don't really have interest in playing Minecraft. I used to play the living daylights out of it, and it's kind of the same thing as I burned myself out on it, and I've had no interest in going back. And everyone kind of knows my feelings about mods. Like, I just don't like modding. There's nothing wrong with modding, it's just I don't prefer it. It's not my idea of a fun time. Oh, I'm not looking forward to watering all these plants. Like, Minecraft is an excellent game. Project Zomboid's an excellent game. RimWorld's an excellent game. All these games I'm talking about are excellent games. It's just, they're excellent games I put thousands of hours into. I've heard good things about Vintage Story, and I've briefly caught some people playing that. Like, one of the things I'm struggling to navigate... Literally started as a mod for Minecraft that went standalone. Oh, interesting. I don't know if I need two hands or not to build this, we'll find out. Okay, we're good. Just started VS. It's a really run, I mean, assuming you mean fun game. A lot of complex mechanics. Gotcha. So I gotta get my plants watered. Because if I don't do that, we're gonna have real problems. Working some forging along the way. Yep. Yeah, crafting is pretty advanced in Vintage Story compared to Minecraft. Yeah. I mean, part of the thing here, and this is something on my end, is I know people's like, oh well, don't worry about view count. That's easier said than done. There's like, I mean, if you'll actually look at the games I've got in the poll that we haven't had much participation in, a lot of those are games that don't really have a viewership on Twitch. But it has been, like, for example, I did a thing for a good while where I was playing a lot of games that were kind of off the beaten path so far as not really known on Twitch. And it really hurt the channel pretty bad. And I know people are like, well, don't worry about the numbers. Like, this is how I pay my bills. I don't get the luxury. I can get away with it some, like, don't get me wrong. That is not what I wanted to do. I just poured out my fresh water. It's fine. But yeah, so it's one of those things you can't fully ignore as much as I'd like it. I can get away with it some, but I can't get away with it a lot. Which was the problem I got myself into, was just... I was just constantly, you know, playing whatever. Oh, is it all of it? No, there's still water in there. Why are you... Are you watered? Oh, okay, cool. Alright. You do know for a fact it's going to absolutely rain now that I'm putting the effort into this, right? That's how this works. With 100%, it's raining. But yeah, no, it's one of those difficulties as a creator, just navigating. All right. I turned that off, so I don't know how that's going to be treated. Did not turn off. Hey, She-Wolf, it's going all right. Yeah, so it's one of those things, just trying to figure out what we're doing. What do you got over here? Some twigs. Cool. Yeah, for those who didn't catch what this run is that we've been doing, it's starting out as a fairly low pop setting, but every day the pop goes up, and we have an extremely aggressive respawn rate. These zombies will respawn 3 times as often, and each time they respawn, it'll be 2.5 times the normal amount. So it will be a matter of time before I get to a point that is just simply unrealistic, impossible, whatever you want to say, to stay alive. Like, they'll reach that point that I'm just not going to be able to hold them off. Which is kind of the point. I wanted a Project Zomboid run that effectively has kind of a hard time limit. That no matter what I do, eventually we are going to die. So it can't be a run that, you know, lasts for months and months and months and months. Hey, just how's it going? Alright, so I can understand not wanting to be pigeonholed into a game such as Project Zomboid. I think I found your channel, you're kind of starting to phase out Project Zomboid. The main thing I enjoy watching, but I do feel weird giving my opinion, because I hate coming across as telling you what to do, if that makes sense. No, I gotcha. Like, that's the thing. Like, there's a right and a wrong way to handle those kind of things. Like, it's perfectly fine to, like, say stuff in general on it. Like, the only ones that have been really wrong is, like, one with the one person I mentioned who, again, I had already been mostly not playing Project Zomboid for a little while, and they popped in, and it was just a particular day that Project Zomboid had a bunch of big Korean streamers playing it, so the numbers look way bigger. But it was only the Korean streamers. Like, the English thing was down to, like, 300-400 like viewers at that time. And the person came in with, like, you must feel pretty stupid about not playing Project Zomboid now, or I think they said quitting Project Zomboid now. I banned that person, by the way. Because, one, they were wrong, and two, they're being an absolute jerk about it. Or, you know, the person who pops in who is just like, oh, would you look at that? You're playing Project Zomboid, and, you know, your numbers are up like they said they would. Like, that, it's not even, like, really a wrong attitude. It's just kind of the way that's handled. It makes me not want to play it, kind of thing. Because you feel like it's no longer something you do because you enjoy it, you do it because it's an obligation. And once it becomes an obligation, it stops being fun. But, like, the thing where people are going, you know, well, maybe you can play, like, 1 day or a week, or whatever. He says, I had a migraine for, I don't even remember how long. I'm going to the doctor tomorrow. That's probably a good idea. I do hope they're able to get to the bottom of it, give you some mitigation or resolution strategy. Thank you, Steel Siege. Yeah, no, I get very good compliments on my content regardless of the games I play. Like, that is one nice thing, I will say. So, like, I feel pretty good about a lot of that. And it is appreciated. It's kind of in that weird spot right now where we're like, oh, here. We're in that weird spot in the season where, oh, I need to sit down for a minute and recover my endurance. That's appreciated, Mickey. Like, and that's what I'm aiming for. Like, if deliberately I had to, you know, quote unquote, pick my audience, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Is the viewer who enjoys the content for like what I'm doing more so than the game. Like, certainly the game is always a factor, but most people on Twitch, it's the game as the primary consideration. That are you playing the game they want to be watching, which is totally fair, by the way. And it has, like, it's a deliberate decision that I have to make a decision. Am I a Project Zomboid streamer? Am I a RimWorld streamer? Or am I a variety streamer? It's not that could never change. It's some immutable truth that once you're on a game, that's it. But it is a consideration you have to make. And from day one, I've approached it with the intent of being a variety streamer. Because I just know myself that I cannot play one game for a long period of time and still enjoy it. With some exceptions. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of hours in Path of Exile, which I have played on stream, and it's one of the absolute worst performing things on this channel, and I do it almost every league, because I like the game. And I always use the whole thing where chat's like, you should play what you want, and 100% weaponize it against chat, being like, you know, you should play what you want. Alright, I'm gonna play the thing no one wants to watch me play, because it's what I want to play right now. And I'll do it for like 2-3 days and go, okay, I accept. If I don't want to kill my channel, I have to stop. Yeah, no, that's exactly it, Butte. You feel like a chill vibe streamer? Just a personal position? Oh yeah. No, that's looking at the survey feedback, I would say of the, like, what are things you think are important, critical, whatever, or good about the channel, like, it was 80-90% stuff around, like, chill vibes, relaxing atmosphere. Some would break it down to be like no loud noises and nonsense jumping all over the screen and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was all around that. You had to, I'm not counting the ones like didn't answer that question, by the way, of that percent. The ones who just left it blank, I'm not counting it one way or the other because I don't have there. This thing says, you pop in once in a while to see what you're doing. I've always enjoyed your take on games and their mechanics. Yeah. Well, that's, I do like playing a lot of new games. That's kind of one of the things I typically will lean towards. One of the things I'm running into a little bit with that right now is we're, like, as kind of starting to say, is we're in this, like, weird spot right now where we've kind of had most of the games that are going to be released this year have now been released. And just trying to figure that out. So I'm going to switch this water bottle down here. I'm going to put the empty water bottle down here. Thank you, game. And we're going to take the not empty water bottle, put our main inventory. So I don't have to manually sip my water all the time. Okay. Isn't there a new Path of Exile League this year? Yes, there is. They've already announced it. I haven't done the thing yet where to go chat and say, hey, you know what? There's gonna be this point in the next couple of weeks that there's gonna be 2 or 3 days. You know, I'm sorry. If you gotta treat it like I'm on vacation, that's fine, I understand. I don't know, it's been a bummer that it's been kind of hard to enjoy the leagues. Because streaming is my game time now, in all practicality. Like, I do stream, or I do play off-stream as well, but, like, the lion's share of the time, by a very large margin, is my stream time. Understandably, I put a lot of hours in. But, a game like Path of Exile is notorious for, if you want to play it, you play it. What else are you playing right then? Nothing. You're playing Path of Exile because you don't have the time to play a second game. So it makes it just something I can't really practically do. So I've been teasing with the league, but, like, the last league, I played just a couple of days on stream, like once or twice not on stream. So I really didn't get very far. I think I got into red maps and that's kind of where it got left. So okay for food right now. I definitely want to keep working on the carpentry because I'm gonna need. Do I not have my? Oh, right, because stone hammers break. As you watch a lot of Twitch, and the vast majority of my time is spent watching the game and actually playing. Yep, that's when it comes to the like just sheer numbers. That's what most people do. Is they either have a game they like to watch just in general, or they have they have whatever their current hyper focus, the current obsession, the current like whatever, the thing that they're into at that given moment. They'll watch that, and then they will typically do that until something new grabs their eye. That is the most common use case. It's not the only use case, but it is the most common use case. You do have people who get more into like the vibe, personality, whatever you want to get into. That they're there because the creator, like, it's not that the game doesn't matter, but it's more of a secondary consideration. And that's where you start leaning into stuff like variety. That's the dream. That you're able to kind of hop between games, and most people will stick with you. That's what you're aspiring for. I'm gonna go back over to the warehouses, and just see if we can get lucky and try and snag like a ball peen hammer or something like that, since the stone hammers break doing carpentry. I'd rather not deal with that. I'd rather get like just a regular claw hammer or something. And just keep it on hand. Just be careful about like popping your shoulders and all that. It can cause problems later on in life if you do it too much. Break down the cartilage. I say this as someone who used to crack their knuckles like all the time. It's not that I never do anymore, but it's more like when they're getting really agitated, I might mess with it. It's not that it can't be done at all. It's just there's a too much kind of thing. Moderation, as it were. I mean, the other problem you're running with games like Project Zomboid, and to a lesser degree Rimworld, is there just hasn't been an update. So, oh man, I don't remember if I mentioned it on the Discord, or I mentioned it on chat, or I mentioned it to my wife, and it may have been any or all of the above, some combination thereof. That I was looking at the numbers after stream one time. It was one of the Project Zomboid streams that performed pretty well. And the thing I noticed was the rate of new viewers versus viewers who are returning viewers to the channel was extremely outside the norm of returning viewers. And it was with a raid from another channel in Project Zomboid. And the way I interpreted that data was that with Project Zomboid, you don't really have much in the way of new viewers and like raw quantities. You have kind of more diehard fans. And as such, like, I was effectively getting the same viewers back. Because normally it's roughly 50-50 between new and returning. If I have a raid, normally it'll be a little bit heavier on the new than the returning. But that one specific one was like a huge raid. And then it was like massively leaning towards returning viewers. But that's always been kind of the implication that has been in the community, that if you're into Project Zomboid, you're into Project Zomboid. That's what you play. You do want people to return to your channel. Like, it's not having returning viewers is bad, but there is a balance that you do also need new people coming in. Because it's kind of an immutable truth. Like, it's not only streaming, it's immutable truth that, like, anything, that you must have a certain amount of new people popping in, new customers, because no matter what you do, there's going to be some number of existing viewers, customers, whatever you want to say, that are going to go away. You know, whether it's because, you know, their schedules change, they can't tune in because their schedule's just very different, or, you know, they're no longer interested in what you're playing because, you know, they've moved on to their next thing. Or you didn't switch something, or you switch something that's not that whole thing. Or it can be that, you know, unfortunately stuff happens to people and they're just, you know, not around anymore. Or, you know, it could be something really positive, you know. They met a certain someone in their life and they're really into that and they're spending their time with that new someone, but also does mean that you know, they're not watching stream as much and all that kind of stuff. All of that is like fine, like nothing wrong with any of that. The animation scares you every time. What's your favorite weapon in this run? Oh, in the run, it's probably the crowbar, just because it lasted the longest. Yeah, I've only had one crowbar. But we're early run, so I've been juggling whatever weapon I can get my hands on, so longer it lasts, the more likely it is to be the favorite. Late game, usually it's almost always hunting knife. But it's just basically the idea is there is a non-zero amount of churn always. So you do have to make sure you're approaching that you are attracting new eyeballs. Because, like, honestly, when I was doing, like, the very hard variety kind of thing, where I was just playing, like, any like, random game that piqued my interest at all, even if, like, no one was watching or streaming on Twitch, like, literally no one, 0 viewers, and I was doing that for a while, we had a very good amount of viewer retention, a little bit higher than normal, but the channel was just shrinking. Because there's, like, you know, there was still some number of people who weren't coming back because, you know, they had something they're interested, their work schedule changed, whatever, yada, 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 the billion completely understandable and valid reasons. Crowbar is good. Crowbar is the best weapon for building up your maintenance skill, because it is the single most durable weapon. Other than the durability, it's pretty decent all around. Excuse, ma'am? That's mine, please. Alright, how do I want to approach this? Let's deal with them first. You like the crowbar because of whack sound? There's a handful of weapons in this game that have a very satisfying sound to use. Alright, so right now I've got just this one aggroed, so I should be able to execute you. There we go. It's not a guarantee you execute when they're in that position, by the way. For those who don't know Longclaw, absolutely fantastic content creator. You should definitely be checking out. Well worth your time. I think we got aggro more than one, so we probably can't execute. I usually don't go out of my way to... Oh, I only had the one. I don't go out of my way to execute. It's just been kind of like just doing it because I can. Yeah, no, the execution animation, like... You generally are safe. There is, like, been once or twice I've heard of people being attacked through the animation. It was definitely a bug kind of situation. I've had the parry animation trigger instead of my execution, which is interesting and terrifying. But generally speaking... Yep, so I pushed him, so he got aggro on a second one. I'm just gonna fight him. If you get infection in zombie, how do you recover? You don't. Project Zomboid is a very, very hardcore style game that once you're infected, it's over. Character's dead, not coming back. And where it hung for a second, that's a bug that's been in the game for over 2 years now. That when zombies transition from a standing zombie to a crawler, the game hitches for just a second. It's been a bug for almost 2 years now. It's just a thing. Hey, how's it going, Wee? You know, channels cozy and good vibes when you can safely fall asleep listening to it? Yep. There's no windows or anything over there. Not a whole lot. Messing around with this, it's kind of challenging. Okay, so there's just the doors here. So if I want in, I go hack down a door. Go ahead and get that started. For those who don't know, low-key, meat cleaver is one of the best weapons for breaking down doors. It has a damage bonus against doors, and it's, so far as breaking down the doors, it's most endurance-efficient weapon there is. I wouldn't recommend using it for much else, because it's like a knife that tries to be an axe and is kind of not good at doing either of the things. I got some more boxes over there. Oh, and we are playing on some really ridiculous loot settings. What about throwing pine cones? There's no throwing.
What's the worst that could happen?
Throwing is not a mechanic outside of Molotovs in this game. I believe I checked this building already. I actually need that battery. Maybe I didn't check this building already. I admittedly was not expecting a meat cleaver in there. I don't need our screwdriver, that's fine. Got some car parts. Be pushed, so we got aggro on a second zombie somewhere. No, I hear someone banging on a window upstairs. I don't really know what this place does. Maybe cutlery? But I'm finding a bunch of, like, random things. Alright, well, this place seems to be a bust. This isn't what I'm looking for. Yeah, so you can see it wasn't proximity, I just did that. The reason I didn't follow up is when you're hitting zombies from behind, they can move in unpredictable ways. You're best served just backing off, letting them straighten out so you're hitting them from the front. Because sometimes they'll go to like stagger and they'll stagger into you as opposed to away from you. A key ring. Oh, right. They added key rings to the loot table a little after 41 just because of Cursidier. Let's see. I don't trust knives even after the proximity fix. Let's see. Just start a run with Brita's weapon. Let's see how it goes. Gotcha. Even if you could just cook them and eat the seeds, that would be cool. Oh, pine cones? Yeah, not just... Literally, pine cones don't have a purpose. You find them and you go, that's neat, and then you throw them away. Like, in real life, you'd probably be able to do some stuff with them. But this product Zomboid, not real life. Sounds like a whole group over there. Doesn't matter. This building isn't giving me anything I want, so we're just gonna leave. No, they can't do fuel. They literally don't have a function in the game right now. It's just you find them. What are you looking for? Mostly just anything useful. Ideally what I would like to find is a hammer. Because it can make the stone hammers, but they break when you do carpentry versus a regular hammer. I've never broken one doing carpentry. Alright, start heading back because it's getting late. Anything that works. But so you heard incognito perk is broken, and instead of running a detection check every second, it does 60 checks. You're detected more than they intended. I have not heard that. I wouldn't recommend taking the incognito check anyways, because, like, honestly, sneaking is not your friend. You do not want to sneak in Project Zomboid. Like, honestly, I'm being stealthier than I normally prefer, because I do have this respawns all turned up super duper aggressive. Okay. But yeah, no, for those who don't know why stealth is so useless in this game, the biggest problem more than anything else is stealth as a skill in this game does not reduce, like, the range you can get heard from. So, like, to give you a couple things, stealth is only related to sound, not sight. You can have 10 stealth, and you can be seen just as far away by a zombie. There's no difference. But when it comes to sound, it doesn't reduce the range a zombie can hear you. It reduces the odds a zombie hears you. So it rolls a dice and says, did the zombie hear you? Yes, no. It rolls that. And all it does is gives you better odds, but it's not even that much better, even all the way up at level 10. So it's just kind of one of those skills that's like wholly useless. But because that's how stealth works, it makes stealth entirely unreliable. So you're better off just not doing it. And then the other thing that caused the problem is, say I sneak past a horde over here, and I get caught off by a horde over there. Now I've got to back out from fighting that horde, and I pick up the other one along the way. So instead of, like, fighting a group of 10 zombies, resting up, then fighting a group of 10 zombies, I now find myself in a group of, in a fight with 20 zombies, which means you either have to, like, duck around corners and get away, or fight out all 20. So you're just better off just taking your time doing that. There was a request, I think it was yesterday, to add a D20, and I was like, I don't care. I've never particularly had need for one, but sure. So far as the channel goes, like I played games that had a D20 before. Because the zombies are interested in what our zombies are doing, right? I don't know what that was contextually in reference to, sorry. I mean, because I was talking stealth. I missed what that comment is in response to, sorry. There's a delay between when I say things, it reaches you, you hear it, and then I see the response. So it's pretty easy to lose context. Especially if you're on mobile or your internet connection is spotty. Then a delay could be like 30 seconds or something like that, versus it's usually pretty quick. On a decent internet connection, it'll be second, 2, 3, or whatever it is. Horde gathering, one checks with the arrows. Oh no, it's the zombies are making a bunch of noise. So it's not that they specifically have any interest in that. Anything you did with noise, where it's like mashing Q, or if you're holding an alarm clock going off, or anything like that. It's just once you aggro the zombies, they make noise as they move after you. They're not being sneaky, they're not being clever, they're not making sure to path in a way that'll avoid stuff. Oh no, She-Wolf, it's not a lip sync thing. It's more that like the footage you see is delayed. So it's not a desync problem, it's just latency in general. And they're sleepy, and that's why we were backing off. It's getting late, it's getting dark. And unfortunately I have no car, which means I do have to walk. And we're weak, unfit, and obese. Well, I mean, we're overweight, not obese anymore, we've lost them. Kind of like phone calls. The delay is marginal, but it's there. Yep. Yeah, so with a good internet connection, it'd be like a perfectly normal phone call where there's just a tiny delay, versus like if you're on, say, like your phone watching, that delay could be more like you hear people when they're like talking like radio chatter to someplace a long way away, where they'll be like over and they'll wait like 30-40 seconds and then the response comes. It's that kind of phenomena. It just takes that long for that signal to get there, to be processed, and then sent back. And that doesn't even take into consideration how long it takes you to type your message or anything else like that, which, of course, will add in a couple seconds depending on what you're typing. Hey, Jet, how's it going? But yeah, no, there's no, PogChamp message sent over. Yep. They, that's not even getting into in Project Zomboid, like, there's no, just so people know, there's no mechanic around zombies and aggroing that, like, there's no leader zombie that if you aggro the leader, the group comes after you. That rumor gets spread around constantly. It's not true. You can literally pull a group one by one consistently and reliably. And if that was true, that would not work that way. The only exception to that is when it decides zombies are migrating or moving around as a group. It does have one zombie that goes like, I'm determining the path, and then the other zombies are relative to that path. And that's just a shortcut you use as developer for pathfinding, so they don't have to pathfind every individual zombie, as pathfinding is extremely computationally heavy. And so if they did have it where like literally every zombie figured out its path independently by itself, the game would barely run. Only when it comes to them migrating and that kind of thing. If it's aggro, they don't do that anymore. They act as individuals. There's been a rumor that keeps going around that like if you aggro the leader zombie, that suddenly an entire pack turns on you. It's like, no, that's just because people go in there. Yeah, it simplifies the movement off screen. Correct. Project Zomboid, and most games for that matter, do a lot of fudging of things when it comes to calculations of things off screen. Because if they did, deal with the proper calculations of absolutely everything on the map, again, your computer would, catch fire with processing how much. That was what I was hearing. If you pick off the leader, you pull the entire group. Yeah, no, it's just not a thing. It's a rumor thing. It's kind of like the exact same thing where we hear the thing about people pop. It's like, you can survive a bite. It's just super low. No, if you get bitten, you're dead. Like, unless you're modding, you're dead. That's just modding, or you've disabled the infection from bite or whatever. You're dead. That is one notorious problem Project Zomboid does have. It is one of the games that gets a ridiculous amount of incorrect information. No, I didn't mean to add this fuel. I meant to light it. You get a ridiculous amount of just provably incorrect information that just stays in the community for way longer than it should. What is this music? This is Pretzel, their lo-fi channel. And for those who don't know what Pretzel is a DMCA safe music station. So I don't have to worry about getting copyright stricken or anything like that. Because it's not worth getting my channel suspended. I know you can get away with using DMCA music by moving on to a separate track and yada yada yada. But that really only protects you from the automated process. If someone who actually owns or represents that, or even someone who just wants to be jaded, because DMCA, guess what? It doesn't actually require the person who holds the copyright to report it. Because it's dumb. If someone just really was vindictive, they could report your channel. And if you're found to be violating the copyright, guess what? You get slapped. It is those things that you get too many strikes and just, you're done. Channel gone. I can show you a map. Oh, we're on the very, very far end, the very, very far end to the north of Louisville. Like, this is literally the bridge that leaves north of Louisville. I don't have the full map populated like I normally do. Because I wanted, like, when it's down here, I wanted to figure it out, so we, like, didn't pull up the big map, so I had to learn where I was. But yeah, so this is the warehouse, like, this would be the river going around Louisville, and then this is just that main road going north out. Let's see. Wouldn't it be cool that when it rains, you could fill your canteen by just equipping it? I mean, sure. Have I played Hades? Yes. I had a good time with it. It didn't do very well. Like, a lot of people didn't hang out for it. I played it, I think, twice. And both times it didn't do particularly well. I've kind of come to accept action RPGs, and the survey data has shown this as well. To say the action RPGs were the outlier for things that people said we don't like seeing on your channel, is kind of understating it. People who tune in regularly do seem to be very not team action RPG. It's okay. It's alright for you to have bad taste. I understand why you're here. Don't worry, I also have bad taste. I enjoyed it. Even if they make everyone in it hot to make it feel like it's some sort of like weird thirst trap kind of thing. What game did they reject? It's not that they rejected a game. It's, I have a poll going on, like, there's a survey, sorry. There's a little survey. It's literally linked to the top of chat. I'm trying to get as much feedback for the channel as possible. You know, basically be like, hey, what genres do you enjoy seeing on a channel? What genres don't you enjoy seeing on a channel? So on and so forth. And it was action RPGs were the ones that very, very particularly stood out as people being like, yeah, that's really not what they want to see. Huh. That battery's only half filled even after I got a brand new battery off the shelf. The story's great. The Fire Emblem strategy. I'm missing context. To be clear, I played like the original Fire Emblem back in the day. I don't remember much about it. Final Fantasy means final. Done. Video. Nah, Final Fantasy goes on forever, unlike the never-ending story, which ended rather quickly. Oh, just flashy character design to lure people in? Oh, I wouldn't say that. I would definitely say Hades deserves the love it gets. Like, Hades is an absolutely amazing game for its style. What does my name mean? It doesn't actually have any meaning. It's literally when I was a teenager, I needed to make a character for Ultima Online, and I went, huh, Rual Storge sounds like a name. And then I went with it. It wasn't inspired by anything specifically. It doesn't have any kind of special meaning. I didn't, like, hear the name in a book or, like, mash together some names. It was like, that sounds like a name. But yeah, I know it was back in the days of Ultima Online. Way back then. Yeah, vendor by the bank guards. What? No guards? But I pay my taxes. And for people who don't understand that meme at all, in Ultima Online, which is one of the very, very first massively multiplayer games, you would use commands like vendor to get NPCs around you to respond. So if I wanted to buy and sell stuff with a vendor, I would say vendor. If I wanted to go into my bank to go like take things in and out of my bank, I would say bank. And then guards would call in, guards if you're being attacked or whatever. It wasn't just an automatic thing. So when you were at the bank, especially at a dangerous bank, you'd have a macro that did all of the things. So you'd just go and walk up to like a door, whatever, you'd hit the button, and it'd respond. I debated as a meme breaking out Ultima Online. To give you an idea here, let me see if I can't find a quick image of Ultima Online and just show you what this is. That is showing me stuff about basketball, which is definitely not Ultima Online. Let's find one that's not super chaotic. Yeah, so this is a screenshot from Ultima Online from way back. So they had like the annoying stylized text. Your inventory was you just drop stuff in this little thing, you could collapse it down, you could put your bag in 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 your bag and your bag in your bag in your bag. But so like this could be a vendor here. So I would walk up near, like close enough to the vendor, and I would say vendor. And it would show me an inventory like this that I could click and drag stuff over to buy it. It was a fun game. It definitely had problems. And when you die, you can loot people? Yes. When another player died, depending on if you were in what's called Felucca or Trammel, because, well, originally there's only Felucca, but eventually they would, eventually they split the world to, like, this is the safe world and this is the not safe world, which the not safe world had the game's original rules, and the safe world, like, made it so you couldn't get PvP'd unless you did things, like, basically, you were safe from PvP unless you did certain things to get yourself flagged as a criminal, and then once you were flagged as a criminal, other people could attack you freely, and then once they initiate a fight against you, you could defend yourself, and all that kind of thing. In Felucca, it was whatever happens, happens, unless you're in, in close proximity to, like, a guard or whatever, at which point then the guard's gonna murder your face. Let's see, it was a huge mistake making the original world not a safe world, that were all the established RPers words. I liked Felucca, which is the PvP world, because it made things a lot scarier. Because it was one of those things that you could get your, like, best equipment kind of thing. And then once you did, it's like, okay, but what am I going to do with this? And you could do stuff that's kind of dangerous to put yourself in danger and all that. To, like, farm materials. But there wasn't that many things. So PvP was kind of the big reset button. Where, people would steal your stuff. I shouldn't be walking over here. We're probably due for the helicopter. Let's just wait to see what happens with that. But yeah, no, it's a fun game. Like, the problem... The Silver Katana Vanquish Fight. Yep, and I would deadly poison those in PvP. Completely destroying them. Because deadly poison in that game, you'd put the poison on the blade, and when you'd use it, it occasionally gets splashed by blood and begin corroding the blade. So you're permanently damaging your weapon. I used to go to, there was this crossroads right outside the main city, just to the west. I used to go there all the time in Felucca, and just, I basically, because I wanted to PvP, and it was getting to the point you couldn't find hardly anyone to PvP, because no one played in the dangerous world carrying anything they cared about. So I'd basically stand there, and it's not even like I would ambush people. It became a thing that I just got known as like a really dangerous PvPer, and that I would go to this specific area roughly the same time of day, and I'd be hidden. That way when people rolled in with like 10 people, I just wouldn't engage. But, you know, then people would come in that they're clearly hunting for me and all that, and I'd go and pick them off. They'd get me once in a while. But, you know, I'd pick them off. Because one of those things that you couldn't move very far while in stealth. So you usually didn't have to worry too much about people stealthing into, to, like, get large groups to ambush me, because most people wouldn't have the patience to try it. Yeah, no, I mentioned a couple times that I used to play a lot of competitive games, a lot of PvP games. Like, for the most part, when I played World of Warcraft, I almost always played on PvP servers, and I would get really into the PvP side. Like, oh man. I can't remember what, was it Dentarg? It doesn't matter. It was one of those servers that were, like... It was way back, it's around the time that they had just introduced Arathi Basin to World of Warcraft. And I can't remember the titles. But that particular character's an alliance. I played at both sides. But I had a character that I got to the second highest PvP rank, because there's like, what, like Field Marshal or whatever? I actually got up to the second highest PvP rank on the server. Which, for those who don't know the time commitment for that, and the amount of PvPing you have to do. Alright, so, can we... Yeah, there you go. I wouldn't even time out Eonek. The door. Go ahead and straight out the door, that one. Because it's not the hair. It's been like one thing after the other, like, you know, calling me a criminal and all that because my hair's dyed. I have better things to do with my time to deal with that. Because that's what they opened up. It was like someone who had been around a while and they were teasing a little bit. That's one thing. But like first time chatter, that's what they opened with. Nah, there's the door. See you later. Learn to get a sense of humor. So the hair is actually not highlighted. We were raising money, and we raised enough money that I had one of my milestones was to dye my hair, and it needs to be re-dyed. It's getting pretty thinned out. And unfortunately, because I do have dark brown hair, I had to bleach it to do the dye. So if it thins out too much, it screams of 90s skater boy hairstyle, which is definitely not my preference for hairstyles. Yeah, look, you customize. Yep, your hair, my roots are showing. It's definitely more than my roots. It's a good like 2 inches, 1.5 inches showing of dark brown hair. I'm getting pretty close to it's almost time to haircut, at which point the purple's gonna be gone. Nothing wrong with 90s skater hair. I mean, in the 90s. I mean, everyone could go how they want, but that's definitely not my style. Your bandit roots. Hey, sorry, I said mage chat's going, so it takes a moment. Oh, yeah, so I actually don't know. To my understanding, when you dye your whole hair is basically a color. Highlights would be like an accent. Like you're not dyeing the full head of hair. You're just doing like not tips. Those are a different thing. You're like augmenting your hair color with something else. I was going pretty good. Still no hammer. I don't know if I've been in here. They're moving up. Let them figure out where they're going. Would you be so kind as to give me a hammer? You can just straight up have it. That's the reason I keep going back to warehouses. Even if I don't find a hammer on the shelves, we should get the zombies that are dressed up like construction workers. And a lot of times they'll just straight up have a hammer on them. Alright, we're still pushing, so we gotta aggro another. Is this all base game with extreme settings? Yeah, so we are unmodded. The settings are gonna gradually get more and more extreme. Like right now, the zombie population's not that high. We're in one of the highest population areas on the map. But the way the settings of this game are is the population's starting relatively slow or low. And each and every day they're going to go up higher and higher and higher. We also have turned up the respawn rate to be extremely aggressive. We've already been in that building. I remember all those barrels. But very quickly, I'm going to get forced back where I cannot keep pushing forward. And it'll become way, way worse. Oh yeah, no, like in the 90s, the bleaching your hair was a real common hairstyle. That and spiking your hair. That was very, very popular, especially among surfers and skateboarders. Like that was like the hairstyle for those demographics. Yeah, this is like all the cookware. Oh, there is a gate. It's about to be like, wait a second, that's fully enclosed. That'd be potentially endlessly protectable if it wasn't. Or if it was, but that's a gate there. Made sure it wasn't even more of them. Yeah, come get your free stabs. Sometimes it just happens. Alright. I do know there are a couple places on the map. There are ways to get into that you could like jump a fence and there's just no gate or anything. That you could in just theory just like live there in the sea of zombies and never have to worry. That said, that'd be boring. Alright, so I knew it said auto parts. I'm hoping though we still find a hammer in here. I mean, I'll settle for a propane torch. We also have ridiculously rare loot. I mean, it's not actually the mod ridiculous rare. It's insanely rare loot, but you get the idea. We've turned the loot way the heck down. A wrench? I'll take that. I can use that as a weapon. Alright, nothing out here. Okay. Oh no. Honestly, when it comes to build 42, one of two things are gonna happen. At this point, I'd say one thing we might get is if we're lucky, first quarter next year we get it. More realistically, it might be a whole another year till we get it. Like we haven't had anything conclusive come from them at all, one way or the other. I did not want you to go out there. Yeah, that's what I figured. The big group got aggroed. And I wouldn't expect to hear anything meaningful. Alright, that definitely won't have a hammer. That could have food for... Ooh! You know what that does have, though? Multiple propane tanks. Oh yeah, and that's just what it is when you turn the loot way down. You walk into a place, you walk away with a can of beans, you go, yeah, can of beans. Not really. But you can walk into an entire place and get a singular can of beans as your reward. Alright. Let's see. It was so interesting to eat. Part of me has been holding hope that they would hear some December, but honestly, I don't think we'll. No, I don't think we'll be hearing anything for the holidays. If it's not, like, it's almost or anything. To quote the dev from Reddit, 2024, and unlikely the backend. Oh, did they actually say something on Reddit from IndieStone? Yeah, like the fact we haven't been hearing anything conclusive just means push it back farther and farther. I would like these propane tanks. Have I ever played Death Road to Canada? I have not. I want to see if I could... Of course it's locked. If I can get in here and we could extract those propane tanks, that'd be really helpful. They will be a problem because they're very heavy. But if I could just clear out the area a little bit, even if I have to, you know, take a trip where I grab them, toss in my extra bag, you know, walk them a block up the road. Then deal with it from there. Because again, I have very aggressive respawn, so basically anything I don't get out of here, like I can't just clear the area, come back tomorrow. I'll have to, like, refight my way in. And I'll probably even have to fight more. But if I can grab it, get it a block or two away, and then have to, you know, stop because endurance, whatever, that means I don't have to push in as far either. Come on, die before my knife breaks so I don't have the equipment juggle.
Take a sip. What's the worst that could happen?
I'll get that hydrate here in just a minute. Alright. Fix that. Free training. That's a reply from Lemmy on the Open Doors Opens blog. Post right, yeah. Okay, so we're talking late December 2024. That doesn't surprise me. That probably also adds to why I saw a little bit of a dip in there was a dip the other week in Project Zomboid's viewership. That was like noticeable. It wouldn't be surprised if like that news has gotten around, so people who are, you know, kind of trying to just hold out for Build 42. Well, it says unlikely the back end, which sounds like Q1 or Q2. Oh, you're saying unlikely the back end of 2024, so you're saying if it's unlikely the back end of 2024, then 2025? Is that what I'm reading correctly? That'd be pretty rough. Or are you saying they said unlikely the back end of 2023, so probably 2024? Oh, I think it'll be right early. Okay, so early 2024. Yeah, no, that would be my expectation. That was like what I've been going with. It's mostly the fact that we haven't, like, as long as they're like they aren't sitting there going, okay, we're like wrapping up the polishing and all that kind of stuff, then it's not soon. Is the way to look at it. You'd expect a summer release? Summer's a maybe. I don't think they've done a major update for the summer before, though. Like a lot of games are strategic in when they drop their updates and releases. April would be nice. Whatever happened to NPCs, those are years out. They've still been on the radar since the very beginning. That's like build, it's something like 45 or something like that. And we're on build 42. That is incorrect information, Aegis. So, driving over dead zombies does not directly damage your car, and I'm saying directly very intentionally. So the actual act of driving over the body doesn't do anything, but what does do things is when you're driving over the bodies, your car can like bounce in the air, ramp, it can make it hard to steer, stuff like that, which will then make you end up off-roading more or bumping into trees and that does damage your cars. But the zombie itself does not damage your cars. Now, off-roading, that trashes your cars ridiculously fast. Like, and there are some cars better suited to it than others, but if you're doing any amount of off-roading, expect to just be doing lots of repairs on your cars. The suspension tires, but the zombies themselves are fine, as long as they're dead. If they're alive zombies, they will damage your car pretty badly, too. Yep, driving the grass will trash your vehicle, and it does scale based on how fast you're going. So if you're driving the grass really slowly, it's not too bad. But if you're driving the grass really fast, it'll wreck that. I don't know about the wood floors. It's something I've been meaning to test. I don't know like how they determine it. Like if it's the actual tile you're driving on, or what area is like the or if it's taking what this determines it as. Like if it's, you know, urban or street low damage versus like forest or vegetation high damage. I don't know how it does the calculations. Where did... Trying to avoid dealing with them, but I probably should just do it. Because again, sneaking around them is a good way to get myself cornered or surrounded. Where's Retinaro? Retinaro would be the exact kind of person who would test that. It probably has tested that, to be fair. Enoch says, okay, I found the comment in Reddit. It was a response. It says, see you in 2025. And the response is, no, 2024, and unlikely the back end of it. Oh, okay. Yeah, so 2024, and they're basically saying it probably won't be the holiday season 2024, but they didn't really say whether it be beginning or, like, summer. Or, like, middle 2024. Just that it's unlikely to be the end of it. Okay. Have you personally bounced at high speed? Interesting you don't take any damage for it. Yeah, no, like, you can actually have your car flip onto its top, and you'll take no damage. Like, you or the car. Now, if you hit a wall, like, as long as you're hitting the floor, like, the ground, you're okay. If you hit a wall, then, like, wall, a tree, a zombie, anything like that. No, I didn't expect you to line up like that. I thought you were gonna one by one. If you hit anything else, you're fine. But it's just the car doesn't have, like, collision with the ground so far as damage taking. Let's just get out of here again. Alright, yeah, so me taking Speed Demon using mod sports card, slamming into a tree at 200. Yep. That wrench broke pretty fast. The wrenches are only okay. You gotta keep in mind this is a very early character. So let's see. Let's see. You died driving a tree in what felt like 5 miles per hour. To be fair, you had been bitten and your health was down to a sliver. Oh yeah, no, like if you hit something solid, it does damage. The only time I was ever driving over a bridge and my car flipped driving onto the bridge, yeah, that could happen. It could even go like end over end and just land on its top. Let's see. Another thing is that it may appear that the car is all closed up, but the door is actually open. We gotta check the menu. Yeah, there's no graphic for whether or not you left your car door open. So if you rush it, that is absolutely a thing that'll get you in trouble. Is technically your car door is open. We need to go fast. Okay. Ah, lone nimble life. It's been a while, my friend. Take my broken knife. Let's see. The door will be open if you jump in the car and immediately drive off. Yep. There's been many times you've left the door open. Let's see. They have plans for showing the car doors are open, but they're waiting to have cars, interiors, and character animations first. Yeah, I mean, if they don't have an interior, they can't show the door open. They just have to have like a black abyss of what the inside of the vehicle is. Alright, so we need to get them out of here, because like I said, I'm trying to extract, ideally, both of those. Let's go ahead and get this ready. That's not what I want. I want you here. Not in my hand where I'm going to be trying to use my weapon. Okay, we've got what we're grabbing for today. 2 propane tanks is a really good find. Try and sneak back the way we came. Should have dropped the bag before we start fighting. It's fine. Yep. Alright. Are you gonna do a base building and try to survive the increasing population? Keep going as long as you last. Basically. And the original idea was I was going to build a base off the side of that bridge. But that kinda is just not gonna happen now because I can't. I started building a walkway up. I don't think we're going to continue that walkway. What I think I'm going to do is I might just cut through the, You know what, I'll just tear apart the cars. I'll just live out there. And just deal with that as it. If this were more realistic, you would swing them into it. If this is more realistic, there'd be no zombies. Like, that's the step 1 of making a realistic zombie game, is you remove the zombies. Because they're not realistic. Hi, pretending to be dead. Oh yeah, I turned it on so some of the zombies we kill will get back up. Because, you know, that's just what we do. I mean, 2 propane tanks and a backpack is a weapon in its own right. This is true, and I get what you're saying. To be fair, there's not many backpacks I could think that could possibly carry multiple propane tanks. I mean, most propane tanks are kind of unwieldy by themselves. If you kill one and it gets back up, does it count as 2 kills? Yes. Because the idea is you're killing, like, mechanically you're killing 2 zombies. It just so happens one of those zombies was a surprise. Yeah, swinging 40 pounds would be rough. Garwell got auto-modded just because of, you know, word choice, but, you know, swinging 40 pounds worth of propane at something would be a non-insignificant amount of weight to swing. It says, I don't know. I can kind of imagine some kind of ABC weapon turning people mad and attacking anyone on sight, like zombies do. But they would still starve, I guess, they die relatively quickly. Yeah, that's kind of the thing, is the way zombies are depicted. Like, the first thing would be, like, dehydration. It'd only be a couple of days before they became effectively... Like, you know, they'd basically barely be able to crawl at you or anything. Because I was grabbing a Pepsi earlier, but it was a Diet Coke. I was disappointed. Yeah, grapefruit and orange juice kind of thing. Both of them are totally fine, but when you're expecting the other one, it's a bad time. No, there's a whole bunch of things that mess with why zombies are non-viable. Because, like, almost all zombie depictions, they show, like, their muscles atrophying and, like, going rotten and everything. You want a pro tip? Do you know what doesn't make something stronger or faster? Them rotting. That's, if anything, that just makes them much weaker and much slower. So lots of zombie things depict them as being really strong and all that, being able to, like, smash down metal doors and all that. It's like, no. No, it'd be like having a person who is very sickly to the point of barely capable of standing. And then they also, you know, have them expressed as having really no meaningful cognitive function in most zombie lore, which means a lot of even the most basic things would be too much. There's a good chance even doing something like standing up wouldn't be really, really viable for him. Exertion without oxygen causes muscles to produce a lateral acid. Yep. And you'd assume their lungs are probably not doing so great. So there's all that kind of stuff. And a zombie would probably only be viable at best for a couple of days. Because, you know, supposedly the person dies, then becomes the zombie. And most of them, it's they die to fever, which is what actually kills them, and then they become the zombie. Which means you're more likely pretty badly dehydrated by the time you've turned, because you've died of fever, and that's one of the things that fever does. It makes you sweat a whole lot. Which means you're already badly dehydrated by the time you turn. And you're going to be basically completely being able to function within like a matter of a day or two because of dehydration. Because it's not like a single zombie lore I've ever seen shows the zombies, you know, walking up to the shore and like sipping in a bunch of water or something. So it's just one of those things that it's fun for like a horror theming, but it's just as realistic as like literal vampires, and as like they bite you and turn you, or like werewolves where they can change between human and wolf. It's just as like non-plausible. Kind of says, death by fever means the enzymes that do the work in your body are dentured. Toast? Oh yeah. It's just one of those things. Like we've gone and people be like, but what about the mushrooms? What about the mushrooms that control the ants? Like, man, there's like the mushrooms with the ants work because they use their body like hydraulics, because that's how bugs' bodies work, is they build in lower pressure. It doesn't tap into the nervous system of the ant in the way that they would have to for it to do anything with the humans. Like, but what if it were to jump? It's like you're talking fundamental differences. There's a reason we don't get much in the way of like diseases from ants that aren't just like very, very like food poisoning kind of things. Which thankfully we don't get that. Yeah, you're also probably talking, even if it were to go that route, I think even thousands and thousands of years would be underestimating the amount of time for evolution, because it also has to find a way to bridge those gaps. Like, it has to find, okay, I'm going to go from where I infect ants and can control them to the next thing. All right, well, that's probably going to be another type of bug. But, like, that jump from a bug to something that is not a bug, the entire thing has to fundamentally work entirely different. And that pressure is blood pressure, which is why spiders curl up. Yeah, when spiders die, they curl up. Yep. Like, the whole, like, when you look at a bug, it's like just the inside, the goo is just like their blood system and all that. It's the reason why we can't actually get the giant insects depicted on like a lot of things anymore that we used to have, is because the atmosphere isn't as oxygen rich as it was back in the days of the dinosaurs. So it physically cannot sustain their life. Like, that's kind of one of the things they talk about. Like, what if we brought dinosaurs back? It's like, well, poor T-Rex will come back and will be heaving for air on the ground, desperately trying to get enough air to live. It'd be like, you know, taking you from where you are right now and then going to top of Everest and plunking you down and saying, breathe, sucker. And just, you wouldn't die instantly, but you would not be able to do much. Oxygen. You need it to live. Oh, I need to grab... Oh, wait. Okay. Open circulatory system. But yeah. So it's just one of those things. Like, it can be fun for, like, a theme thing. It's just when... I usually break that stuff out. Like, obviously, the hitting stuff with the propane tanks wasn't one of those things. There's people say, like, it's unrealistic that the zombies can still move in the cold. I'm like, it's unrealistic that the zombies exist. Where's the line in the sand we draw? Pile, peak inventory management. Yeah. I don't have the skills yet in the game to do much else. So we're making do. No idea, High Lord. I don't, because, like, I have no context as to, like, I know people do get effectively, like a high from just having really high oxygen density. Like, even if you go to, like, the oxygen bar kind of things, where they, like, put the little thing of oxygen on your, just to breathe, that's not that high of saturation so far as all the air around you. But if you're, like, sleepy, you can very noticeably see where it perks you up, because your body's like, oh, I have all this energy. Ooh. I'm liking this. But I have no comparison of how that amount of oxygen equates to, like, what was normal in the dinosaurs period. I mean, if you definitely took a person from nowadays and just dumped them in the age of dinosaurs, they would certainly feel pretty good when it comes to the oxygen side of things. Oxygen not included. I honestly debated playing Oxygen not included today. There was quite a few games I debated playing, but let basically data get into my head. Not just viewer count, but, like, survey data, my own experiences with the channel, like, very non-measurable squishy data. Then there's, like, the actual, like, viewer follower data. There was a bunch of games like, maybe I'll play that. No. Would it be surprising to hear that Strider is hungry? No. Oh, I debated responding to this the other day on social media. I decided not to, because it is a trick right now on social media to basically say something that's effectively provoking just to get people to respond. Because if you do that, that builds engagement, which means the algorithm supports you and yada 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 kind of thing. But it was an article that was going, Generation Z are a bunch of germaphobes. They wash their hands over 10 times a day. Over half of them do that. And I kind of sat there, not in a panic, but in like do they not realize that 10 times is really a small number for washing your hands? Like, really, really a small number? Considering the average person uses the restroom 6 to 7 times per day. So that's hopefully at least 6 or 7 times you're washing your hands a day before getting into eating meals or anything around, like, preparing your food, or if you go out and garden and get your hands all dirty and gross or anything else like that. 6 and 7 is a pretty low number. Like, it's a pretty uncomfortably low number when you start to really think about it, like the 10. Because, I looked this up a while back. It was the average person eats 2 full meals and 3 snacks a day, which snacks is very ambiguous. Like, if you go up and you, like, eat a couple of crackers or something, that's a snack. 6 or 7 times you use in the restroom a day? Yeah, for average. That's not that many when you think about it. Most people will use the restroom 15 to 20 minutes after they eat, because biologically what your body does is after you eat, your brain sends a signal to your stomach that says, or sorry, I take that back. Your stomach sends a signal to your intestines and says, hey, intestines, make way. I got some heading your way. And then you suddenly feel like you have to, you have to use the restroom right away. Whether or not you actually have a lot there, it's just a thing your body does. It's like, here's the process. You've eaten, stomach talk to your intestines go get yourselves clear. Same with like your bladder and all that. You usually have to use the restroom like first thing in the morning, and usually right before bed. So that would be not counting around a meal, and already that puts you up to usually around 5 times. Yeah, the average person spends around 2 years of their life in the restroom. Mm-hmm. You're also mandated to wash your hands every time you're constantly need to touch. Yeah, like if you work food services, or even if you're just cooking. And hey, I'll go. So sorry, I didn't mean like just in the top cut thing. Like if you're working food services, or honestly, if you're just cooking for yourself, you wash your hands very regularly. If you're trying to not give yourself food poisoning and whatnot. Because, like, if you're handling, like, raw meat, you're going to handle your raw meat, and then you're going to wash your hands. Well, you're going to wash your hands, then handle that, then you're going to wash your hands, and then you're going to, make your tortilla shells, rinse some veggies and all that, cut up your veggies. So you're probably going to end up, washing your hands 2, 3, maybe 4 times or more preparing food. Like, and that's if you're being efficient about it. If you're actually working food, you're probably going, like, cook this chicken, wash your hands, run over there, like, prep, get these sandwiches staged, go back over there, start doing the next step on the chicken, wash your hands. And if you're dealing with something that's like a food allergy, like peanuts, well, congratulations, you're washing your hands between that. So it's just a whole thing. It's too easy to make a joke about handling raw meat. I don't feel like you even have to bother. Yeah, I know it's there. Yep, if you're working like, if you're working with chemicals, so you're like working like pool stuff or cleaning or sanitation, food services have to wash your hands. Medical, you're washing your hands all the time. And there's this whole article is like, they wash their hands 10 times a day or more, half of them. And I'm kind of like, what are the other half doing? They're not preparing my food, right? Like, please. I'm more concerned if you're not washing your hands like 10 times a day most days. Like, I can understand you might have the lucky one-off day that you just don't actually have a need to do it that much. But seriously, your parents taught you to wash your hands, right? Like, use the restroom, wash your hands, eat your food. Mess with something dirty or any particularly rough chemicals, wash your hands. But it was like making out this big, like, that Gen Z is a bunch of germaphobes because they wash their hands 10 times. Like, what? This is why I dread shaking people's hands. Oh yeah, no, it's you go to conferences sometimes and it can be a rough time. That like you go in the restroom, you do your thing, you start washing your hands, and you see like 5 people just walk out the door, not even getting near the sink, and I'm like, you're nasty. Come on, man. Like, we're not even getting to germs here. That's just gross. Those air dryers attached to the faucet of the sink scare me. The air dryers attached to the faucet of the sink. Oh yeah, that was I only saw those for the first time when I was traveling. I don't remember it was when I was going to New Zealand or when I was going to like ExileCon or TwitchCon. That it was one of the airports that they're all like one thing. And like, this is kind of cool, but also, I don't know, it felt weird. You see him? Yeah, so this would have been at the airport. Sorry, some age saying I'll wash my head 10 to 20 times just at work. Yeah, for me it depended on the job. Like when I was doing software dev, it wasn't that many times. Well, actually, I guess it depends on the job, because there was the last job I had worked software dev in office. Like we had Mimosa Mondays and Whiskey Wednesdays. Usually people would hang out and play pool, and there'd be snacks on Fridays. Like it was like a bunch of friends hanging out who also happened to get stuff done. And with all that food, there was a lot of, oh wait, hang on, let me go wash my hands. Because it's kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it buffet style, family style with a lot of the food. So, you know, people grabbing spoons. So you want to make sure you wash your hands so you're not spreading who knows what to everyone else. It's just anytime you're going to be handling food, especially someone else's. I went to an animal care program, part of my high school education, and about an hour or two in, half-hour days, doesn't let easily wash your hands 20 times. Oh yeah, no, there's certain jobs that's like, your hands almost hurt by the end with how much you end up having to wash them to deal with making it safe, especially when you're talking about like really nasty chemicals. When I was doing a lot of my woodworking, which would sound counterintuitive, but with my woodworking, I'd have to wash my hands a lot because I'd be dealing with all sorts of finishes and like ammonia for like turning, like I'd take copper and I'd like put prints on it and then expose it to ammonia, which causes the copper to react. But yeah, you don't want ammonia on your hands. Like you wear gloves and all that, but they're not perfect, so you still rinse off just to be sure. Because, like, leaving that stuff in your hands for long hours, you'll have, like, this big rash up your arm where, you know, ammonia do what ammonia do. You saw a kid licking a spoon at a buffet once? Big bummer. Okay, we're fine. Yeah, also, this is the random side of things, but if you want a ferret, or know someone who does, be careful around them if you get a cold, because humans' colds can get ferrets sick. Gotcha. No. Is it good? A raining game tomorrow? I didn't even pay attention. Like, honestly, outside of, like, the tropical storms and stuff like that, or the helicopter, I tend to, like, just completely tune out the entire rest of the broadcast. It's just that last little thing. It's like, all right, what are you telling me? Do I got a snowstorm or a tropical storm or something rolling in? Okay, like, that's a day I don't want to be out fighting kind of thing. So the good news is by getting all these cars out of here, it gives me a lot more flexibility to move around, so it's just like a big open space. And plus, this means I've got metal bars and pipes everywhere. Yeah. Nah, probably some of the worst for me, for jobs and washing my hands, there was a job, and I won't say where, but there was a job that I worked as general labor. Was my official job title was general labor. But it had a bidding system so that, you know, based on seniority, you would bid for a position, and if you were the highest seniority person to have bid for that position, you get it. If you weren't, you get stuck with whatever needs filling. So it's kind of this whole thing of turning the employees against each other about trying to get the best job you know you can get into without going, you know, too much that you don't get it kind of thing. It was so annoying. And they make you do it all the time. But, there was a gourmet restaurant's not stating it right. They served gourmet food, but it was kind of almost catered. And so I liked getting that gig when I could, because it was one that generally anything related to food people didn't want to do. And so that was like the exception. General labor, do they get any sergeants, corporals, or colonels? I'm gonna avoid, like, I actually have something to say with that, but that's gonna be one of those things that'll put the pin a little bit too close. That'll be way too easy to pick out the exact company and all that. But I liked working at the gourmet restaurant thing, but the chef's stance is he wouldn't serve anything he wouldn't try. Like, he won't eat it, he won't serve it. So there's a lot of taste testing in that kitchen constantly throughout the time, which means there's a lot of washing your hands constantly through that time. That was when your hands would actually start to hurt by the end of it. You'd wash your hands so much. But, hear me out, I was getting to eat really good food. It was like, man, was I even a college? I think that was like late high school. Wasn't even like a college student yet. Like, is on the fence, like, right at the end of high school. I don't know if I still worked that right when I started college, or it was, like, right before that I left. Turn the page, wash your hands. Turn the page, wash your hands. Respawn in this game is not corpse resurrection, is it? So, you have 3 mechanics. You have spawn, which we have. So spawn is when you start with your starting pop lower than your peak pop, it will magic new zombies into your world. And that's spawn, which has its entirely own set of rules. You have respawn, which is, the game says there's supposed to be 10,000 zombies in this cell. You kill a few, and then after a little while, they come back. That's respawn. Most of the time when people say spawn and respawn, that's the mechanic they're talking about. And then there's the zombies that get back up. We have all 3 of those. And all 3 of those have been turned up to be very aggressive in this run. That's from Rocco's Modern Life? I think so. I don't remember who did it. No, I never play with player respawn. I don't know what... Like, that's the thing, because normally I always refer to zombies. I never play where the player comes back. Every time you die, it's a brand new world. So, one of the bridges is a dead end yet? Yeah, it is. I could cut through the bars on the other side with the welder. I don't think I'm going to. I'm basically just gonna trash all these cars. I probably should grab that I probably should just grab the propane tank and drag it down here at this point. We're far enough down here, it's gonna be worth it for me to just do that. Yeah, so that said, those 2 propane tanks were a good find, because I was sitting here, I was like, man, I'm just gonna have to deal with the, deal with the cars over the bridge forever. Now, unfortunately, these handful of cars that aren't wrecks, I can't take them apart. Nor do I have a working car that I could drive around to tow them off the bridge. We'll get there. Alright, so we're just gonna burn these propane tanks, clearing up as much of that one sad individual with only his sneakers and the road barricade on his back. I mean, he had more clothes, but we used those to make fire, so that I could boil water and not die. We still have the problem... Oh, you know what? Actually, before I run this out entirely, I am going to cut a hole through the fence. Because the whole thing I was running into is I can't get water, because annoyingly I can't, like, the sides of the bridge won't let me over. I understand in real life you'd be way up in the air and yada yada yada. Oh, you know what? I still can't get through that. Because I'm pretty sure you can't pick those up, right? Yeah, you can't. Oh wait, actually, is there a gap here on this end? Hello? Yeah, this bridge is the edge of the map. Basically, I'm just trying to get to where I can get far enough over the bridge that I can get water without having to walk the whole way out in there. But if I cut a little path along here, I'm hoping the bridge doesn't go much farther. It definitely goes like another screen. I'm not planning on building anything back here, because I feel like that's kind of being a little cheesy. Going far enough out, that's not an issue. I'm also expecting I'll be investigate area nothing the whole way. Yep. So this is technically outside the normal map, so there's nothing you can forge. Oh, don't do this. I want to be able to reach the water. Oh, it's letting me... Okay, so we can work with this. Can I also build here? Because up here I was trying to build a path along the side and it wasn't letting me. Alright, because if I can do that, that'll be pretty good. Because then what I can do is I can build out here and it gives me an area I can spearfish and get water. So that as that is that fence in the back of the base destructible with the sledgehammer? Yes. The sledgehammer can break almost everything. Almost. Topping everything off. And then once I get all the cars out of here, that'll be good. Maybe this is the Truman Show kind of scenario. We're all literally bumped into the wall there. They just colored it black. That was one of the other games I've been debating playing on the channel is American Arcadia, which is a Truman Show-esque game. It's got like puzzles and platforming and all that, but it's you know, everything's voiced. The story's supposed to be pretty good. I've deliberately not spoiled myself too much on it. I just know it's a Truman Show style game. For those who don't know Truman Show, the idea is a person's entire life is actually a television show, and you're like they just don't know it. But then you know someone reveals like or it's like someone or somehow they get tuned to the fact that their life is not real, and then it's, you know, the whole them trying to escape it. Hey Fadika, how's it going? Honestly, with all the metal plates, if I actually was I could honestly build like an entire base out of metal if I had the screws. And pretty soon that second propane tank will be done. We'll have cleared up this entire road other than like the handful of vehicles there. That'd also be good is if we do manage to ever get a car, which I'm really doubting, but let's just pretend we do. If I do manage to get a hold of a car, that means I can actually drive to and from my base. I don't see that being a thing, and the reason for it is as the population continues to escalate, I'm just not gonna be able to drive a car around. Because like this goes directly into like what is one of the highest population cells in the map. Alright, how much is left in that propane tank? Propane tank is gone. We got just like 2 more cars to take apart, and then there's nothing left. Cool. Then I gotta decide if I want to prioritize trying to build stuff or collecting supplies. I can't really do both. And both are on a time limit. Might be better to build just for the sake of cutting these trees down and making space. Collect stuff? Yeah, I'm just trying to think of where I'd go, because we do have things set to insanely rare loot. So even if I go to like an entire chicken restaurant or whatever, I might walk out with like 2 bottles of ketchup or something. We are gonna have to collect stuff. I don't have a hammer, and I'm not gonna sit here and do the whole the juggling of stone hammers that break as you build stuff. So let's drop off our propane torch and our welding mask. We'll drop off the propane torches, I mean. Doesn't go right in the ground, welding mask in the bag. It's the same 2 bottles of restaurant that I've had forever when it was in operation. Yep. Alright, so let's go around here. Okay. Just grabbed a couple of the pipes real fast since they're going there. Alright. So, where the heck am I going? Let's do one thing real fast. Alright, so just to mark things, we've cleared that, we've cleared that. I don't think we did that building. We did this one, we did that one, we did that one, we did this one. This one's done, we did that, we did this, we did this. We did the chicken place. I don't remember if we did that one or not. We did more over here than I got the X's, but I've lost track. We're just gonna try going right down the main road and just seeing what buildings we can get into. Oh, and... Did it. Alright. So, I think my best bet for finding a hammer is honestly zombies, being realistic. But other than zombies, my next best chance of finding a hammer is going to be just random utility closets in some of these buildings. Because we already hit most of the warehouse area and we've come up short. So honestly, it's going to be like going into places like this. And they usually have like a utility closet that you can sometimes find a tool or 2 in. All right. Probably be doing that. So that's an office there. Got a pair of vending machines that have no use to me. Okay, this could be a restroom or utility. Or a laundry room, I didn't think about that. Think about the only thing I'd want is maybe a scarf. There's all the showers in that back there. Yep, we're not going to check it out. It's funny, the jump scare didn't get me, but the one zombie just going around the corner got me more. That was sloppy on my part. Try to stay away from that corner. There we go. This is the room we're looking for. And hammer. Mission accomplished. And now I get out of here and it's base building time. I'm gonna jog. I know I shouldn't, but I don't want to walk. It's too slow. I've gotten spoiled on Venus being able to run everywhere because, you know, 9 fitness and like 5 jogging or whatever the heck she's at now. Okay. And she's a powerhouse. Yup. Okay, so we're... Oh, that's... I didn't think about that part. That's gonna make foraging so annoying out here. I'm gonna have to pick all this crap up and move it. That's fine. That's a later me problem. Because trying to forage every one of those pipes and metal plates and all of that are gonna show up. So that'll be something I'll have to deal with over time. Like, maybe when we run up here at the end of each day, just load up our bag on the way back up here with as much as we can and add it to the heap. You know, Vena's definitely one of the all-time favorite characters we've had. Drop the sack over here. We'll fill that up later. I don't really need more yet. We can go over here, drop the electronic scrap. Eat our salad. No, Venus is not dead. Drop our torn sheets. Oh, I mean... That's fine, there's like nothing in it. You don't need the pipe wrench yet. So now I can get away with fast forwarding pretty fast. Hey, Element, how's it going? So let's go get ourselves some planks and all that. I want to see if up past here I'm actually allowed to build off the side. Because like I said, it won't let me build off here. That's the reason you saw me start this. And then I sit there, I was like, but why would I do that? If I was going to just do this, I might as well just do it out in the open. Now with that attitude, Strider saying you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you cannot pick your friend's nose. Hey, I mean, what happens between consenting adults is between consenting adults. That's all I'm gonna say. Hey, Spencer, how's it going? Alright, so we've got a bunch more logs we saw. Take care of all that. And as a reminder with how things tend to work on this channel, I do stream until usually about my halfway point. Since we have been starting later, as of this week, for at least for a couple weeks, we're going to be doing that, where we're starting at 7 instead of 5 my time, which is EST. That, where normally that's around 9 o'clock is usually where we will do the poll about flipping games. Instead, today we are going to do that at 11. And I think that's just what's going to happen while we're with this temporary schedule. But I do try and play 2 different games on the channel per stream. I find it is much easier for me to have, you know, like, be engaged and enjoy the entire stream, as well as same with the viewership. I have found, generally speaking, people seem to be a lot more engaged when I do that as well. It also means for if I start a stream and what I'm playing really isn't something people, you know, some people are interested in, they still hang around because they know the second part might be. That kind of thing. So they do stream 11 hours. It's pretty long, but I've found I think it's a really good strategy. It also is another thing that supports where I am a variety streamer. So that's it. Do you have games in mind for the poll? Not specifically. I know I've been putting kind of the same games on there. I'm in that weird place where I don't really know what direction I want to go with a lot of stuff. But so some of the games I would possibly be thinking is Hard Space Shipbreaker. I think I'll put on there, because that's something that's been voted for a bit. I'll probably do American Truck and Farming Simulator 22 on there, because those are nice chill games that they're kind of one of those ones that doesn't matter what's going on. They're, you know, at least decent. I don't know if I'll put RimWorld on there today. I'm going to play more RimWorld, but I just don't know if I want to schedule that for today as well. Oh, are you going to do it? That's so annoying. Like that, this is honestly one of the things that's kind of really bummed me on this run, is my plan was to do where you build off the side of the bridge, and you can do that off the West Point Bridge without having to knock the wall out or anything, but this one, it won't let you build, and I've tried both sides, like the west and the east side of the bridge, I tried all that kind of stuff, and it just doesn't let you. Put the tent for resting. But yeah. Now, it's just been kind of a weird thing lately that it's been, like, trying to find more games I'm interested in playing kind of thing has been a little bit more difficult. And I think part of that is there was games I had a lot of interest in playing on the channel that, unfortunately, for various reasons, didn't work out. Like, City Skylines 2, unfortunately, crashes my entire computer, like, reboot kind of crashes, so I just can't stream it. We did Coral Island, and I had a really good time with that. Like a really good time with that. We played through, literally did the entire main story, got married, finished the temple, and a whole bunch of stuff. So it was like literally just like achievement chasing and all that. And I've debated still popping that out. Like if I have a day that I just don't feel like dealing with Project Zomboid or RimWorld or whatever, that's when I can always break out. And whatnot. But,
Thank you Chaotic Awesomey for subscribing for 19 months. Hey Rual, how's it going? I have arrived with stroopwafels and I will share.
brought food? Amazing. Well, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub, Chaotic Awesome. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. And brought stroop waffles? Friend. Just friend. You did the thing where there's food. And you're gonna share. But yeah, I really do appreciate that support. It does mean a whole heck of a lot. That's a year and 7 months you've been supporting the channel, so thank you so much for that continued support. It does mean a whole lot. I do hope you're enjoying your advertisement-free viewing as well as access to emotes. Man, this sucks. Like, honestly, not being able to build off the side of this bridge really sucks. Where are you gonna go to do that? Okay. Answer my question. I mean, if I can get water, that's the big thing. As long as I can get water and spearfish, it's still not undoable. The downside is Baldur's Gate 3. No, probably not Baldur's Gate 3. Of the things I've streamed in the last, like, 90 days, Baldur's Gate 3 was the one that had, like, the absolute worst viewership. Like, really, 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 really bad. It's something like it averaged, like, 32 or 34 viewers or something like that, which is bad. I'm debating what I'm doing here, because I need to work on my carpentry. So you do furniture, wooden sign, miscellaneous, wooden cross, that's fine. So it's one of those things that, the way I kind of say that is chat has voted with their eyeballs. I think the problem is, like, Baldur's Gate 3 is an amazing game, but people kind of got invested to watching a playthrough, and that just takes so long that by the time they finish seeing a playthrough, they're kind of over it for now. Because it's a really good game from everything I've seen. Sims 4, my first pet stuff is free to claim on Steam. Well, that's cool. I also debated doing Sims 4. My problem with Sims 4 is I don't know what I'd want to do in it. That's also, like, one of the things that's been difficult for me when it comes to playing The Sims, Project Zomboid, and RimWorld, is coming up with new ideas of what I want to do in the game. Like, The Sims, I don't have nearly the number of hours as the other two. But you still have to be like, all right, what is the thing that's going to make this run interesting? Why would people, you know, check this run out versus any other run? Because just, I'm going to play The Sims is pretty not satisfactory. I don't really like Dwarf Fortress. Dwarf Fortress is literally one of two or three games I've ever refunded on Steam. I understand Under the Hood Dwarf Fortress has a lot of amazing things going on for it, but for me the UI was just so obtuse. I'm like, I'm sorry, for the price I paid, this is just not acceptable. Like, this is just not acceptable. That I was getting just very openly frustrated where it's like, you need one of these. Cool, where do I do that? Let me click on all of the buttons and try and find it. So, like, this isn't me saying Dwarf Fortress bad game or anything like that, but for me personally, I am not as forgiving when, like, a game is just needlessly obtuse. And my favorite was, like, people don't need to realize it's a 10-year-old game, and you go, yeah, you know it's also, like, 10 years old? Final Fantasy VII. 10 years old doesn't mean crap UI is acceptable. So I don't mind games that aren't beginner friendly, to be clear. I actually like games. I mean, I'm playing Project Zomboid. Like, that should say enough. I'm playing Project Zomboid when it comes to beginner friendly games. Oh, let's drop the wood axe. And I've talked about playing EVE Online and Ultima Online and, you know, Elite Dangerous and all these other ones, Path of Exile. So it's not I have a problem with games that have got complex systems, aren't particularly, like aren't particularly user friendly and that kind of thing. That part's fine. And I don't mind pixel graphics. I mean, it's not like Project Zomboid's exactly stunning, nor is RimWorld exactly, graphically a powerhouse or anything like that. We've done plenty of pixel art games. But there's a difference with that and just a UI that feels like it's difficult for the sake of being difficult. Which is just, they haven't brought in like a proper UI person to help them out. Alright. Where's my radio? But for me, it's like, when the game came out, it had an extremely, like, it had a UI that was 10-15 years behind the time. And that's been 10-15 years they've been using that UI, and it's just kind of like, alright. There's a certain point where we go, no, look, your UI needs to be done. Yep, no water in the broccoli, absolutely. And see air activity detected. Okay. Let's pour that into my current thing. The someone wrote a manual on how to get started with Dwarf Fortress. The manual is written by the people who usually write technical manuals for aerospace equipment. Yep. Like, honestly, that my statement when because I played on the stream what little I did, and like I said, it was within it, like, it was still in the first hour. I was like, look, I'm not having a good time. I don't envision having a good time with this. Like, if it was something I planned to play as my only game on the channel, sure. But, like, it was something I was trying to, like, just check out. Maybe, maybe not. We play very much. And, okay. But yeah, so as well as things that's like, if they ever did like a proper UI refresh where they just hired someone who specializes in user interfaces and then just like cut them loose on it for like 6 months, I would absolutely give it another shot. Because the only reason I find that game frustrating is because I can see there's a wonderful good game under the hood, but it's kind of being held hostage by that UI. Hey, Proger, how's it going? And like I said, I know a lot of people have a great time with Dwarf Fortress, and I don't think it's a bad game. It's just, for me, it's the kind of game I would mess with and be frustrated with for a while. And then maybe not get to the point where I'd start enjoying it. But it's kind of one of those things that it was not cheap when it came out in Steam. And, like, as a content creator, it's not exactly like Dwarf Fortress had a pretty good viewership right when it dropped. There are some creators that do pretty well. Fidigo says, yeah, Dwarf Fortress is amazing, but the brothers are learning. Give them some time to wrap up the UI thing. Right, but they've also been working on it for 10+ years. Like, that's kind of my point is, I'm willing to be pretty forgiving, but there is a certain point where a game's been around long enough, it's like, okay, it's time you, like, figure this out. Now, especially with the money they got from when they did their Steam release, it's like, okay, you can hire someone who knows how to do this. Like, it'll take him a while. But like, you've got the funds. You can hire a full-time UI person for a while to get this sorted out. It'll still take him 3-6 months or whatever to get all cleaned up, but you know, the resources. Elgo says, even Sal for Sal doesn't only play Dwarf Fortress, and she's so good at the game that she literally hired by Dwarf Fortress to create a beginner guide. Even Sal for Sal doesn't only play Dwarf Fortress, and she's so good at the game that she literally was hired by Dwarf Fortress to create a beginner guide. Yep. I mean, at least they did that part for it. Had someone brought in to make a proper beginner guide. Because yeah, when I was trying to play that on stream, that was rough. Because it'd be like, you need a this to do that, and you kind of sit there and go, okay, that's cool. Like, where do I do that? It's like, I'm down to learn, but like, you gotta give me the tools to be able to find what I'm looking for. Because there's like one thing after the other. It's like, you needed this, and you kind of go to the menu and go, click on the first one, nope. Click on the second one, nope. Click on the third one, nope. And eventually you'd figure it out. But that's not where you assign them. That's where you look up your existing one. It's like, it's just always things like, oh my god, please. Like, link between your sections. Like, when you do stuff like alerts and all that saying, hey, you needed this, I should be able to click on that alert and it takes me to the appropriate screen. Because that's not a player skill thing. That's just saving me a bajillion clicks. Let's see. Leave anything specific in town? No, not really. Let's see. 20 years actually. You know Legacy Code. It's based of donations of goodwill to keep it alive. The funds are recent. I have faith they'll get straight. I hope so. Let's see. You've seen one dragon. Quickly spot a second dragon. Oh, you're getting killed. That's the thing. Let's see. Kayak saying, the only reason I had the slightest clue what I'm doing when I play Dwarf Fortress was because I had a friend who was familiar and willing to teach me their ways. I definitely would have dropped it entirely had I had the guys. Oh yeah, no, that's like that. It's one of those games that's like I looked at as like, oh, I could definitely learn this game, but I kind of sat there and like, but do I want to? Is where I was at with it, because it seems like a great game, but also, but do I want to? And again, it costs like $40 or something. I'm like, I am very unhappy about spending $40 on this. Where did those two go? Oh, that's inside, okay. That's the one thing that actually hurt them, is that they still wanted to keep the game free with the old UI, but same code. And you can see how is the limiting factor. I believe they abandoned that idea already. The old ASCII, yeah. Well, that was one of the things that got me at times, like, this is, you know, our brand new, better UI. I'm like, cool, brand new, better UI, awesome. I'm so excited to see that. And then the UI was what it was, and people were like, yeah, but it used to be ASCII. I'm like, okay, hear me out. A slightly less terrible UI that is still terrible is terrible. Like, it's just a thing. Yeah, I played Oxygen Not Included. Raw, hated it. Watched someone else say, this is how you die. This is how you not die right away. And now you've got a couple thousand. Yeah, no, I learned Oxygen Not Included. Like I forgot a lot of it. Well, that's confusing. Really? Like, I learned a lot of that and played a bunch of that on my own. And I had a good time with it. Like I said, I did Project Zomboid, RimWorld. Like, I'm no stranger to complicated games. I'm just not gonna mess. If these doors are open, I'll mess with you, but Yeah, you can just do your thing in there, zombie. I'm not dealing with that. Oh, we need to rest a minute. Yeah, there's definitely been those games. But that's kind of one of those things with the balance. Have you already checked Caves of Cud? I have not. Admittedly, with the experience I had with Dwarf Fortress, a lot of games that look like Dwarf Fortress, I don't even give the time of day anymore, which is unfair. Because there was one we played a while back. That was a Dwarf Fortress, and we're saying a while back. We're talking like 3-4 months. That was a Dwarf Fortress inspired game, and I ended up having a pretty okay time with it. It was definitely needed more time, but it was a game that's early access. Yeah, it's a complicated games with farming simulator level tutorials. Yeah, farming simulators tutorials, garbage. That's what I will say. And they're like, but you can go to the website and watch the videos. I'm like, nah, that's not excusable, man. That's not okay. That needs to be in-game. If your first solution to learn a game is to go to a tool outside the game, you need to revisit your approach. It's like games where like, oh, you want to know how this, how to play this game? Here's the wiki, and you're like, yeah, that's a big old noperino. Like, don't get me wrong, I've played plenty of games I've had to break out the wiki. Like Terraria back in the day, to find all the items and stuff you wanted was a wiki thing. And not going back there and deal with that. Let's see. You played Stone Shard, and it's like Project Zomboid levels of difficulty, but you understand how to play by messing around with the UI. It's very detailed, straightforward. I think I had people ask me about Stone Shard, and I looked at it, and at the time it was like one of those things that was like super duper niche, even by Project Zomboid standards. And so it was one of those ones that like I didn't get like a free key of it or something, so it's like, well, I'm not gonna buy that. Versus what was the one? It was a 2D. It was like 2D Escape from Tarkov, but like PvE. I'm blanking on the name off the top of my head. I had a lot of fun with that one. Even though it too had a little bit of obtuseness, but at least it wasn't that bad. It's just sometimes it's like, is this better than that? Kind of, shrugs. Like, does this do more damage than that? Shrugs. You just kind of used it and does this feel good? Alright, I'll keep using it. And I'm sure you could pull up a wiki and it'd be like, well, this weapon has the highest DPS based on this damage per shot and this rate of fire and this accuracy rating. And it's just like, look. You wish they had full keyboard controls back into Dwarf Fortress? They have been promised and nowhere to be seen. Shame because I know people who love the game are unable to use the mouse. It's something that made Dwarf Fortress pretty unique. Not often because of the calling sim you can only play using keyboard. Yeah. Well, that was like the old ASCII version was using the old DOS UIs that we had back in the day from like games like, I mean, it was ASCII versus like graphics, but if you think of like the games like Masters of Magic way back in the day that you booted up in DOS, that you can control everything with the keyboard because you never knew if people were even going to have a mouse. Look, I want to go clothes shopping. I'm going to go to that widow. Why am I doing this way? You just right-click smash window. Okay. Which I know, I played a ridiculous amount of Masters of Magic back in the day. That's one of the first games I, like, put some real solid time into. For those who don't know what Masters of Magic was, it was like a 4X strategy game before that was really a thing. It wasn't exactly like that kind of thing, but it was along that lines. You'd research spells and you could use them. But it was like Civilization where you're trying to, you know, defeat the AI, and you had a couple different ways you could do it. Like, one is there was a spell of mastery that if you did that, you mastered all of them. You could vanquish all of the other kingdoms, wizards, and all that. But it had some ridiculous depth where you could summon all sorts of, like, demons and all that. Hi. Third propane torch. Okay, looks like we're in a toy store, potentially. Well, that's disappointing. Alright. Strider's playing Skyrim. I probably should be switching weapons, but I'm not going to. Okay. That's dangerous. We don't want to actually back up the street farther. Okay. So we'll drop all this for a minute. There's a sofa in the back room the rest in. Yeah, but those back rooms were kind of sketch. They're really small. I'd rather just sit down here where I don't have to worry about some zombie snagging me around the corner where I don't have time to react. Alright, so that's it for the potatoes. Alright, so bear with me, chat. I need to use the restroom real fast, so I'm going to quickly do that and I'll be right back. So thank you again so much for tuning in. I'll be back here in just a moment. So thank you again. Ooh, I almost didn't get that swing off. I don't know why we didn't see her approach us. That was spoopy. Oh good, and we're stunned too. And my guy died of bleeding and we're dead. You attempt to find your way home has concluded in death. Death and darkness. It did not have to end this way. Will you try again? Okay, so now that the music has awkwardly stopped, you see nothing, chat. Nothing is happening here, chat. You see nothing. I don't know what happened, chat. Everything was fine. And then it wasn't. Since you had dice roll. Oh no, it's when you win the roll, so arguably you get more consistent amounts of maintenance if you have higher maintenance. Thank you for the follow, Psy Omegas. Welcome to the stream. Alright. It counts. It counts. Yeah. Your child will be 100% safe in that treehouse. I wish it kept the treehouse up there, and we could build a bridge that stands. But it takes an engineer to build a bridge that barely stands. All right, I have a potato harvest all. All right, let's get back to it. So we got some dice rolls. Did I miss anything important? Okay. Cool. So I'll do this again for a moment. All right. And we're good to get back to it. I kind of want to try and like fully clear this building of like anything we care about. Yeah, so like here, I wouldn't be able to see around that corner, these doors, or that corner. There's just like, Oh. Yeah, checks out, doesn't it? We already have no, there's a whole extra lot next to us. That is a fancy diner. Okay, so those counters aren't real. Oh, good. This whole place had a bucket and a dish towel. It's literally the only loot in this entire building section is a
Take
bucket
a
and a
sip.
dish towel.
What's the worst that could happen?
Alright. We've got our stretch here and all that here in just a second. Let me go ahead and get into whatever this place is. The Plump Cornucopia is the name of this business. Excellent. Alright, let me go and get that stretching up before these zombies aggro. I hear at least one, if not two, banging around in the back. Free bucket seems good. Look, man, it's not that good walrus bucket. It's just a regular bucket. Low plop Louisville, with it not being because you killed everything is weird. Like I said, it's gonna get worse and worse and worse every day. We're 18 days in, so we should already be 10% of the way up to 16 times pop now. Because it is going up each and every day. And at the 180th day is maxed. Oh, flour's useless to me. Door's gonna break soon. Oh, rotten and uncooked. I just saw the uncooked. I was like, wait a second. Yeah, scooching around that real fast. Okay. I don't expect to find very much that isn't rotten here. Well, technically there's a singular potato that's not rotten. Honestly, pretty good finds in this place. Well, Project Zomboid stuff like baking is kind of a waste of time. You could do it, but it's a lot of stuff like that. You could do it just to be like, I did it. It's not actually useful. Ooh hoo hoo, haha. Let's drop you real fast and deal with this. Like, normally when I'm playing this, I wouldn't have respawns turned on, or if not that, I'd have it like at a very slow respawn rate, like the normal one. And so I'd just stand outside, yell till I got everyone out. And I wouldn't run into stuff like that. Like, genuinely, I was getting more worried to have a zombie walk up behind us, so when we had all those zombies pop out of that room, I was like, not ready for that at that spot. I don't know why that didn't hit, and I'm gonna take it. There's a clown car in this break room. Okay. You found real food? Well, I mean, the food's nice as a convenience thing, but like, we can literally survive a very long time foraging. Once we start getting the broccoli up, I could turn to trapping if I really need to maintain weight. Probably won't be that necessary though. Let's see if we can't get back here to check in this back area. Got a can opener? Yep. Cool, I'll take a shovel. I'm not sure why there's a shovel in this room, but alright. Huh. There's no, like, storage space in this place? Alright, I mean, sure, I guess. Alright, so with that, boom and boom. That's fine, just do your thing. Okay, it's probably time for a character to head back anyway, so we can go ahead and make that happen. Some of these places would be interesting for base building, like on a multiplayer server kind of situation. Because the catch is with playing the single player, the reason I wouldn't worry about it is you're so far out of the way out here. By the time you can clear out the zombies to make this area a base, you'd probably have the skills that you wouldn't stay in a location very long. Not unless you plan to commute a lot. All right. And we can stroll right back on up, get back to home, drop off our ill-gotten gains. And go from there. Nice to meet you, Zomboid. Thank you. 0 to hero? Yep, always. And like for the record, I don't plan on playing. Like I've been playing a little bit of Zomboid here and there. Like I'll play like a day or two, and it'll be another week, and then maybe a day or two. I don't plan on going and putting Zomboid on as a major thing on the schedule. Not till build 42. It's just, you know, not a whole lot has exactly changed in the game. But yeah, so it's not like it's like, you know, people are like, he's back, baby, he's gonna be playing, he's gonna go for the new records. Like, nah, sorry. just sorry. That's just not what I'm doing. Just playing a little bit here and there. Bruno saying, I'm worried build 42 is going to be destroying the 0 to hero and 16 times pop playing with it. Why would you... Like, what makes you think that, I guess? What makes that a concern? I haven't seen anything to me that feels like it... If anything, it'd be easier to play from everything I've been seeing so far. What's his character's name? I haven't looked. Melissa Hay. No, I left my tent behind. Let's not do that. Because, like, honestly, my big concern with Build 42 is I feel like people are overhyping what it's going to be. Like, I do think it's going to be a good thing. That's the first thing I want to preface this with. I think Build 42 will absolutely be a good thing for the game. But there is a lot of people who seem to be thinking, like, Build 42 will be the second coming of Project Zomboid, that there'll suddenly be this big end game, that the entire game will be this revitalized thing that will change everything. And for most of what I've seen of Build 42 so far, none of it gives me that feeling. Like, very genuinely, it feels like Build 42 is going to be along the lines of, we're going to have more ways to solve the problems we've already solved. And basements. We can use that beer for nutrition. You can cook the eggs. Eat the potato. Let's see, will there be meat in making Build 42? I doubt it. Maybe, but I kind of doubt it. That's something that's in the realm of possibility, though. Let's see. We do get new ways to get milk and eggs, which is one thing I've said about for role playing. Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's another way to solve food, and food is a very solved problem. So unless they nerf the crap out of that, then it's gonna be one of those things that we already have a solution. That thing. Do you know when you really like something, then you become afraid of changing it? Basically that. Yeah. Well, from everything they've revealed so far, I don't have any real concerns about them ruining the 0 to hero kind of runs or the 16 time pops run. Other than, like, perhaps making it easier. That'd be my only worry. Is that it does look like those, you know, those might end up being easier. Alright, put that out real fast. Hey, Belinar, how's it going? Can I get a shout out for Belinar? Alright, so put all these eggs in our bag. We've got our things. Yeah, playable. Yeah, no mead. For those who don't know Belinar, member of the Halcyon Frequency, another excellent content creator. Plays a lot of indie tiles and all that good stuff. And painted some miniatures. Didn't know you painted miniatures. But definitely another person to check out here on Twitch. So thank you again for popping in and all that. But go check them out. Alright, so now it's time to make a bunch of quote-unquote egg salads. Where we put an egg in a bowl. Congratulations, it is an egg salad. We'll make it fancy. We'll add some potato to it. Mostly Warhammer? Gotcha. I used to do a bunch of stuff with Warhammer 40k, like painting them, all that. I still got them floating around here. This got way too expensive for me. And every time they change the rule books, I get more and more frustrated. I still enjoyed it. I still have them. I still wouldn't be against playing either. But it's just too much to keep up with after a while. Alright, so that's going. We're going to drop our bag. Just a minute. Yeah, it can be very expensive. If only build and paint, so rules and all that doesn't matter for me. Gotcha. Yeah, I imagine it wouldn't be nearly as bad if you build and paint, because, like, the pressure with the rules and all that is that have, like, whatever the new overpowered unit is, and you get, like, one figurine for, like, 25 bucks or something because they deliberately made it the overpowered one or whatever. But if you're just doing it for the fun of the miniatures and all that, you don't care about the overpowered one. Like, its ability gameplay-wise becomes irrelevant. You get most secondhand. There's very active Warhammer community in Finland. Yeah, that works. That's one of my main armies. I got most of my pieces secondhand as well. That a person bought them all when they were competitive, but by the time they arrived and everything, the rules has changed to basically just absolutely gut them. So a person was all upset and just wanted to sell them on the cheap, and I got lucky and picked them up from them. Because I didn't care about what was the meta or whatever. I liked playing, but, you know. I liked playing the army I found interesting versus the army that was strong or whatever at the given time. Alright, so let's go ahead and go get ourselves some sleep. Yeah, I painted up a whole bunch of them. Okay, grab our tent and put it away. Enjoy our egg salad while we still can. Those eggs aren't going to last much longer. Probably have to grab some food out of her pile. Alright, is there anything here I could actually put on? Oh, I can actually put mallow on as a spice. Alright. Let's grab that, put in our bag, because we can use that for spicing stuff. Grab the chips. We'll wait on the cereal. Grab the marinara. Okay, we'll go with that. Alright. Just got amazing yellow paint. They've been staring at Mala and tried it on because it looks so good and vibrant. Yeah, I'm trying to think where I have my miniatures where I could grab one real fast. Let me do that. Let me grab one thing real fast and I'll be right back. Whew, I almost didn't get that swing off. I don't know why we didn't see her approach us. That was spoopy. Alright, sorry about that. I just kind of wanted to show, like, here's probably one of the ones I'm more proud of so far as my miniatures I've painted. See if we can't get him to show. It's not going to show too well. Yeah, I can't see it too well, but like it's not technically the right colors. Like, I made the claws red and all that. But it's got wash. You can actually see, like... Yeah, the light is too bright, but you can see where I actually put the insignias on and everything. But even went so far as I've textured the base. So you can see where the base is all textured to look like burnt earth and all that. I used to do that a lot. Sadly, it won't show up too much. Even if I were to zoom in the camera, it's the lighting. The lighting will be hard to do. I think I posted that in the art channel on the Discord a long time ago. I could update those posts. But yeah, that was Belial of the Dark Angels, one of the main leaders there. That I then you can give him different equipment. I gave him the lightning claws. Because you get into melee and you can just abuse the lightning claws. The catch is getting Terminators into melee. Anyone who lets Terminators get into melee on them with lightning claws deserves what they're getting. The Dark Angels are getting a new range refresh? Neat. Because I used to do the special, the Dark Angel drop thing. Like, I'd go into tournaments with that, and it was, depending on my opponent, either just walk on the board and just try and just outpower them with the Terminators. You know, using terrain and all that, but just try and use numbers to win. So far as my defense and all that, which was pretty mixed. The new Terminators are just gold, super nice looking. Interesting, because they used to be like that dried bone color. It's like, depending on the group, is like that dried bone color, or it was that deep green. Depending on what part of the Dark Angels they were. I enjoyed it. One of the other bummers is that is one of those games that no matter, like, even if everyone's trying to play by the rules, it always ends in a dispute about what is and isn't how the rules are supposed to work. Don't you do it. Okay, we're fine. Every time I see that double buzz, I'm just expecting a helicopter. They're still that color? I mean, the models are just missing. Oh, I see. So, like, the model you would then get, and you'd paint them up and everything, they started like a kind of a bronze gold color. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder what changed, because, I mean, they used to make them out of either the plastic or the pewter. I haven't bought a new one in a long time. I still got tons I could still paint. But yeah, I did the, there was a tournament referred to as the Ard Boys tournament, which was like, it's some ridiculous, like, 2,000-3,000 point armies or something like that. And I did it with a Dark Angels army that was literally nothing but Terminators. That was very much a tournament I went into, and I either absolutely mopped the floor with my opponent, or absolutely got mopped the floor with. Just depending on how it worked. Like, I'd hit an IG player and be like, oh, this is gonna be a bad ride for me. I always liked fighting Tyranids because it actually felt pretty fair. Chaos felt pretty okay as well. Did not like playing IG. Ma'am? Thank you. But yeah, that was the way I always felt, was like doing just the ridiculous amount of Terminators. IG, if you win quick, if you win, you win quick. If you lose quick. I felt it was the other experience with IG. Like, one of the strategies people would use against me when they're playing Imperial Guard is they'd have like a billion of trash units. They're like their basic person. And they just had this like one squad that's like 50 people. And I did the math one time that if they got one of my squads into melee, they could literally tie up that squad for the entire rest of the game, even if I landed every single attack and killed every single attack with the lightning claws, which get extra attacks. And I'm like, this is some BS. That like literally you can take this unit out of the game by just tying them up. And then because of the rules behind Terminators, I couldn't like force them to retreat out or something. The only way I could succeed is if they had a morale failure and the Imperial Guard retreated. There was a lot of edge cases like that I'm like, it shouldn't work that way. There was also a chaos leader or whatever, that his whole gimmick is he would make your character dance. And the idea was it would let the opponent take control of your character and they can move you like roughly the same amount of distance a normal character with like run/jog or whatever. But the catch is, because I play as Terminators, they only get to move half as much as normal. They're lumbering. But it doesn't matter with that move. So the idea is my character's trying to run as fast as they can, and they would dance almost twice as far away. And it was super frustrating, because it just means they could basically cancel 2 turns of movement by using that ability. Gotcha. Good to know, because I didn't do that for... It's been over 10 years since I actually played in a tournament. I really don't know where I'm going in town anymore. Like, I mean, getting a little extra food would be nice, but we're not going to be able to go very far. It's like, honestly, pretty soon we're going to get to the point I won't be able to get new loot. And because we have aggressive respawns, have you been to that bookstore there? I don't know which bookstore we're talking about. By the time I get this far in Louisville, I'm not looting anymore. Like, I'm not even going into buildings, because I already have everything I want and need, so there's no point in me looting at all. So it's like, honestly, I have to like refresh myself. It's like, oh yeah, that's a clothing store. Oh yeah, that's a grocery store. Now, obviously, I've already been in this place because there's corpses everywhere. Got all those windows banged out as well. Yeah, I remember walking past that before. What store are you? I think we've been in there already. Is one of the stores you to the west, you remember correctly? I mean, we can look. A bookstore would be handy if I get at least like carpentry 1 or 2 out of it. That way, if I go to do some base building, I don't have to put down like 100 floors before I can build a wall. Still pushing, so there's still more we got aggro on. Alright, made more friends than I really wanted. That looks like a whole rally group. We'll fight it, but I need to get them to line up for me. Okay. And I can deal with this group real fast. There was a hunting knife I saw, and then there's a hand axe. We're still in that early low maintenance part of the game that if it's a weapon that's not absolutely terrible, we're taking it. Versus where Venus is at, where it's like, I'll look at a hand axe and be like, nah, that could stay on the ground. Just because of the sheer number of weapons we already have. And maxed out everything but spears. I think it was this one, the black shirt, maybe? Nope. There you are. Okay. So there was stores to the west. Because I'm kind of going as like, good enough for me, I don't know what direction to go into. Another big thing would be finding more seeds. It'd be a really big win for us if we can make it happen. Alright, so we got clothing. That's fine, whatever. Okay. Oh, that's not what you want. Let's back off. I need to not be so reckless because we're starting to get, like you saw, that's like an area I just cleared. That was a full-on rally group. Like maybe even more than one, just kind of close to each other that hadn't yet sorted themselves out. Okay. And I keep mentioning it won't be too long before my ability to maneuver around here is going to go away. This is annoying because the knife stab on the ground animation is actually pretty slow. I didn't want to do it while we're fighting that. Alright, have my broken knife. Go up here. We'll grab the axe out next, I guess. Alright. So just really not sure what to focus on with all that. Grab the axe. Start wandering back over. I wasn't expecting to have like a full group of like 16, 20 zombies on the north side of the road there. But that's going to get more and more frequent and worse and worse. Oh, and there's another group. Yep. Not going to worry about that, because by the time I fight through there, I'm not going to have any energy to do anything. Back off with that. Top off our hunger. Start trying to get more of our resources moving. can actually eat that and barely go over our hunger. We didn't even go over hunger. Because those eggs should be going rotten any time now. Oh yeah, no, I'm not worried about trying to kill all those zombies. With the respawns as high as they are, there's no point on me fighting my way through zombies if I don't expect to get a payout on the other side. Like, there's normally I'd say, yes, clear the area, but I've turned up the respawn to be so high, it's not even going to be worth the effort at all. Okay. Try and get some materials, get a little bit of carpentry. So we can keep getting things built up on the other side of the bridge. Because this doesn't cost me any materials, and get a little bit of carpentry doing this. And fences, like, don't give you that much XP, but there's a lot of them, so you know. We just go by just disassembling more and more, and we'll get there. Because I'm not envisioning that we're going to get to that bookstore. I have a feeling we're going to start getting pretty soon to the turning point where things will get worse. As far as, like, just the number of zombies we have. Because keep in mind, on the 16 times pop, this area we're in usually has somewhere in the area of, I want to say it's like 20,000 zombies. Like, in a cell. So, where we're slowly building up to that, it's just going to get worse really fast. I just saw a zombie heading this way. Grab those nails, because those will be hard to see. Let's deal with you. Any others moving around over here? Got one down there. All right. You came to the part where it goes worse? Yep. Well, it's going to be a gradual thing, but it should, like, it'll be just one of those things that the amount I can push into town is going to become less and less until I get basically cornered. And then, you know, from there it'll kind of be downhill. Welcome back, Sir Ice the Mage. Alright, Strider, you sleep well. Thank you again for tuning in. If I decide to go get food, good choice. What am I doing skill-wise? Probably disappointing, huh? No, we're doing okay. Yeah, so we're only making about like 3-4 XP each round. It is what it is. Now we can pick up a bunch of this stuff and bring it with us as well. The good news is I actually do have a lot of nails already. I don't have the planks. We can start chopping trees for all that kind of stuff. Watching you play this makes me want to install it again. Giving it a try. I just know I'll die after 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, if you're, especially if you're new, it's like, or it's just you're rusty. Either or, you should just expect to die early. That is just the nature of Project Zomboid. It takes like a little like warming up and all that, or learning it for the first time to, you know, get to the point you can survive. It also takes a lot of patience, which is one of the things that gets a lot of people. Alright. I think we'll go where we got the 2 points. So put all this away, we'll grab out our axe, we'll put the hammer away, and we'll grab our bag. Eat our salad. Put our saw away. Alright. So pretty soon we're going to stop eating fun food that makes us happy and we're going to eat food that makes us sad. Gonna eat like stale food and all that. I mean, I guess technically this is stale, but we're gonna eat stuff that's just like bugs or whatever because that's what we got sitting around. I'm not too worried. We got enough food to last us for a good, like, not an in-game month, but a pretty good amount of time. Stash that away. They try to have what you call good deaths, the kind where you learn something new about the game, make improvements. Yep. It is one of the pieces of advice I usually will give new players is every time you die, stop, take a second, and go, okay, what was the moment you made a decision that put you, like, that led to the situation that got you killed? Not what actually killed you, like missing a swing or getting bitten. That's certainly something. But like, you know, did you stay out much later? You couldn't see very well, and so you accidentally walked into a big group of zombies. Did you not check the area around a building before going in, and so the zombies saw you go into the building, and then, you know, things naturally escalated? Like, what was that spot? You're like, this is the moment I set myself up for failure. And then go, okay, now I've recognized what that moment was. What is the thing that I could do differently to avoid having that situation occur again in the future, or to mitigate it? And then kind of make a soft rule for yourself. Let's see, you mostly feel like my game settings are wrong. You have groups of 10 to 20 zombies from day 1. Then you retired. Well, like, what game settings are you doing? Because if you're in places like West Point and Louisville, to a lesser degree Muldrow if you're on the main road, or if you go to March Ridge, you're going to see big groups of 16 zombies right from the get-go. Oh, I should probably grab that pipe as well. Versus if you're like in Riverside, unless you're like right in downtown, you probably shouldn't be seeing full-on rally groups. With normal settings. If you're sitting on like 8 times pop, then you're going to get groups like that from day 1. Yeah, generally Rosewood and Riverside are the good places to start as a new player. And people say which one's the best. And my response is, that is a heavily disputed question. Like, that is a very, very heavily disputed question. I was kind of hoping I'd be able to cheese this. That's fine. Alright, so let's go out to the cones. Yep, no, it boils down to preference. Okay. Cool. Alright, so get the chips and the marinara and all that. Put that back away. Alright. So you don't like the area with the mobile homes? There's a couple of them. Yeah, the mobile homes, like, on one hand, you can get, like, they carry a little bit of everything, which is nice, but they carry only a little bit. And there could be a decent amount of zombies in those there. You prefer the nomadic lifestyle where you just wander from place to place? Gotcha. That's much harder to do on higher populations, the nomadic lifestyle. Because you kind of have to move into areas that you haven't cleared yet, kind of thing. And clearing areas, unless you're playing in very low pops, takes a while. Alright. Is that corpse still down there? Nope, it disappeared. We'll just drop the empty beer can in the trunk of a car. There we go. And I can do a round of exercises. Alright. You play in high pop, just have temporary bases? Yeah, no, it's kind of the same thing. I don't usually build like a long-term base much anymore. I used to do that a lot in my older playthroughs. But I kind of just stopped doing it. Like I don't know, like maybe I burnt out on the actual construction aspect of it. There's also as well as things that I got good enough at the game that I could usually move through an area relatively quickly that in the course of like, you know, an in-game month or two or whatever, I would just be done with an area. Like on 16 times pop, we're probably talking longer than that. But you get the idea, is I would be clearing an area, it would run out of zombies, and it'd be on to the next area. So this time of like building a persistent base just wasn't a thing I spent time on anymore. Alright, let's check for the helicopter. Put away our tent. Okay. You find you spend too much time overlooking things? Oh yeah, no, that's typical. Like that's really the thing. You only need like 2 or 3 items loot-wise to have like the solid basis you need to succeed. And once you have that, like looting is just something you do for convenience or fun or whatever. Like once I have a couple of cooking pots, it's not a big deal. Like literally right now, I just have to forage a bit to... Hi.
Hi, husband. I love you the most.
I love you more. I'm assuming you head to bed?
Yeah.
That's good.
But I'll miss you.
Uh-huh.
'Cause you're the sweet husband.
No.
I like just leaning on you.
Mm-hmm. You sleep well, okay?
You sleep well.
Never. I love you.
Oh, hi. Oh, gosh, don't hi your neck.
Alright. Now that said, it is getting to be about that time during the stream where we do the game switch up. For those who are new to the channel, I do usually switch my games halfway through the stream, because I do stream for 11 hours, and if I stream the same game for 11 hours consistently, I burn out in the game, and then I stop playing the game. So that's not something we want. Oh my god. How far behind is the YouTube stream? I'm still in a building looting it. Oh my. Let me show you how far behind this thing. I'm gonna slide this down so you can't see too much of it. This is how far behind the YouTube side of this is. We're still in a building, like, looking at the clothes where I went into that store. That was like an hour ago almost. It feels like... Ah, excellent. You go, YouTube. You be efficient like that. But, for those who don't know, like I said, halfway through the stream, I usually will switch up the game. And the way I usually do this is I will start up a poll, and people vote on the game, and we move on to something else. And the reason I do this primarily is because if I just play the same game all the time, I will burn out, and I won't play it anymore, and I'll hate it, and I'll stop playing it entirely. What are we doing now? Why am I so bad at typing? There we go. Doing now. For that said, I do play Project Zomboid on occasion, not very often. I've got over 3,700 hours or whatever it is up to now. I used to hold a world record for the highest kill count run ever streamed, and I can tell you that record is what burnt me out. So these days I just pop in for a little bit. American Truck Simulator. Because if I were to play it consistently, there would be a breaking point. It's a great game, but you know, there's only, like, no matter how good a game is, there's always so many hours you can put in a game before it's like, all right, you know, I need a pause. I will put RimWorld on the list, I think. I was debating whether or not I was putting RimWorld on the list. I wasn't going to, but I don't know. It's been a weird time lately trying to decide what I want to consider and all that. Let me go ahead and get Firebot where I can see it so I can actually see chat. Who owns it now and what is it? Oh, so Mr. Lamprey has the world record right now. Has he broken 800,000 yet? I know he was in the upper 700s. Has he gotten past 800,000? Because his plan is to go to a million kills and then murder his character. That way there's like an end to the run. Because my record's 135,000, which was the world record until the run he is on that he's coming up on 800 or has passed 800,000 on, got to where it is now. Why am I struggling to do basic things? Okay. I'm not gonna put Coral Island in there. We played a lot of this past week, and we kind of did all the main beats. Is that pure vanilla? It's sandbox, but on absurdly difficult settings. It is much harder than normal settings. No major mods. Same with my record. Like, I had some UI mods, but that was it. And actually, now I think about it, didn't I start it off with literally no mods? And then after I got like 6 months in, I turned on the UI mods. In-game 6 months, not real life 6 months. Man, I really wish City Skylines 2 would actually work. We'll put Software Inc. That's right, and hard space ship breaker. Okay, so we've got the poll going. So we'll get that all up there. It's so weird looking at the YouTube one and still seeing what was an hour ago. If you do not see the poll, refresh your browser. It's just a thing that happens. So don't forget to do that. But basically, if we have American Truck Simulator win, then I play American Truck Simulator, which is chill, driving trucks around time. A Farming Simulator wins, we'll continue a farm I've got going on there. It's the one I did for the Dare Drops, where we're just doing regular farming versus chopping down all the trees and clearing that, which, while it's fun, took forever. RimWorld, we'll be continuing on our Tech Humanist run that we started yesterday. Software Inc., we would be playing that, which is you run a software company. It's like a tycoon-style game. And Hard Space Shipbreaker, which is you get ships, and there's like all sorts of hazards in them, and you tear them apart piece by piece, throw the stuff in the various bins. The music in that game is an absolute jam. And it also has like a very big company town kind of vibe to it, where you're indentured to this company town this company. You're horribly indebted, and just navigating that. Meanwhile, for all of you over in the YouTube land, I am going to stop the stream for YouTube land because YouTube doesn't like when you change categories in the middle. So I'm going to end the stream over there. So if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will be bringing the stream back up over there once this is all established, what we're playing, and I get all the things updated. So if you don't want to get interrupted, you have to go to Twitch because, YouTube has all these things that make it a pain. That's my big ask of YouTube, is to make it so when I change categories, I can just cleanly slice right there and not have to go through a whole ending and starting. All right, so I'll see you over there on YouTube in a minute. Okay, now they're all gone, we can enjoy